What's going on, fellow A Plusers? It is your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys over on our YouTube page. You can catch us also over on Facebook Live as well as Twitch for you viewers out there. So thank you, everybody, for certainly joining in today. If you're listening to this podcast, perhaps on Monday, thank you very much for certainly joining us, guys. For those of you who do not know, we do have our podcast over on Spotify, audio versions as well as video. So if you want to go ahead and follow us on Spotify too, there is a link in the description box below, guys. But what's going on? A little special evening episode of A Plus Hero Report, if you will. Just kind of going back and forth and trying to find that perfect schedule or the right schedule, certainly for everybody to go ahead and go live together. So we are here on a Sunday evening, and it's good to certainly see everybody. So hopefully everybody's weekend has certainly gone fantastically well. I know we were supposed to go live at 7, so whoever is certainly still around at 7:30, thank you very much, guys. We certainly do appreciate it. While we don't necessarily have a full panel here today, it is in fact the two bros, as always, certainly coming through. Myself and Stuart Branscombe. He is coming to us from a unidentified location, so very top secret. So if for some reason his Wi-Fi goes in and out, it's probably the government working against us, Stuart. So what's going on, man? How you doing?
It's always the government. I'm doing pretty good. So I may actually have to drop out in just a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna try to do this over my phone because it looks like I keep dropping in and out. We'll see how it goes. If I'm still dropping in and out for the next 5 minutes, then I'll switch to my phone.
Well, it's good to have you regardless, Stuart. So even if we have your frozen face on screen for a little bit, I'm sure somebody will probably capture it and use it against you at some point in time. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's good to certainly see everybody here. How was your weekend, man? You have a good one so far?
Oh yeah, I had an all right one. Yes, kind of a busy work day, but now that I got my day off today, it's been really nice and relaxing. Earlier, I think last week, I mentioned catching up on Next Generation.
Yes.
Fully caught up on Next Gen now. Rewatched season 1 of Picard, and now I'm watching season 2 for the first time. About to start season 2.
Man, that's some great momentum. See? That's some great momentum you had there.
Oh yeah, so almost completely caught up now. It's exciting.
That's pretty impressive. I don't even know how many seasons of Next Gen did they have.
7 of Next Gen, and they're currently on their 3rd season of Picard.
My goodness. Yeah, it feels like Next Gen 2.0 whenever I see Picard. So even though I haven't had the opportunity to check out the series itself yet, it is on my list for sure, because I can't wait to see that cast and that crew back together.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do some quick shout outs here for you guys, for everybody that joined us earlier. And as of right now, we got good old Kurt certainly in the house. Stuart is definitely joining us. Another Stuart. We got good old Abase certainly coming through. Adam Perea is certainly here with us today. Roberto Buena, the most talented man in the world. Nicole, it's always fantastic to certainly see you. Francois, our international superstar over here. Good old Jack Daniels, because it is 5 o'clock somewhere. Hey, it's 5 o'clock your time, Stuart. I hope you're popping one, my guy. I hope you're enjoying a good cold beverage tonight. We got who else? We got John Schuyler in the house. We got Carlo here, Jackson Peterson, good old Power Rangers Legacy has joined us. Carter Matthews, what's up, Michael? Good to see you, Michael. I believe I did get your live viewer question. I think you posted it in our I think you posted it over in our email, but I did get it. So hopefully I'll try my best to definitely remember to get it when it's live viewer question time. We got Morgan Hutchinson certainly coming through for us. Enrique Perez is certainly here. Blossom is joining us today. Good old Johnny Marrero certainly in the house. Ram Jam, it's fantastic to see you. Who else we got? Datilla is here also. Indy, my boy Indy, he said, yeah, he had to work, unfortunately, tonight. He would have been on the show earlier today, but unfortunately I had to change schedules. Listen, parents, us having kids, You know, especially when one of us certainly works, right? It's just the whole conflicting schedule thing, having to find somebody to watch kiddo type of thing from time to time for myself. So schedules can get kind of crazy. So I understand, Indy, when especially when you gotta try and balance work and all the other pressures of being a parent. So I totally get it, man. We got Lawrence in the house with us today. Who else? Campbell Cooley in the house. What's up, Campbell? Good to see you, man. Congratulations on the news that we're going to be getting into here, hopefully within the next few minutes. But it's okay. Quietly watch from the shadows if you'd like, or participate, man. I know you got that type of personality that you just have to interact, you know. So very infectious in a great way, Campbell. But thank you very much for certainly coming through. Datilla says, congrats on beating me, Adam, on predictions. You got lucky. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, if I can boast momentarily, for the Elimination Chamber predictions video that me and Datilla did a week or so ago, I think it was a clean sweep. I think I predicted all the matches correctly, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but the bottom line is I did beat Datilla. So I had to make up for the ass whooping that she's given me, 2 pay-per-views back to back. But the big one is coming up for WrestleMania. It should be a fantastic one. So if you guys are big wrestling fans, check out Datilla's work, Rangers of Wrestling. She's got a YouTube channel, Rangers of Wrestling. So yeah, if you're looking for your post shows for Raw, SmackDown, AEW, she certainly has got you guys covered there. Also, check out Campbell Cooley's YouTube channel. Also, he's putting together some amazing blogs of his time at conventions. And yeah, definitely, guys. But thank you very much, everybody, for certainly joining us. If you're in a live chat, do me a big favor. It takes 1 second. Hit that like button. It definitely does go a long way. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, as well as feel free to comment on this video at the end of the episode. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into some honorable mentions. Stuart's going to go ahead and get set up. He'll be back here momentarily. When he's ready, he'll give me the okay, and then we'll bring him back in here. But we'll go ahead and get into honorable mentions for you guys. I got a couple that I definitely want to go ahead and talk with you about. First up, The Flash is back in the news. I'm going to get Ezra Miller and his illegal ass news out of the way before this man gets locked up one more time. Ezra Miller is back in the news because The Flash, Warner Brothers Discovery has decided to go ahead and give an early showing for The Flash at this upcoming year's CinemaCon. I believe it's actually going to be this April, if I'm not mistaken, CinemaCon. They've been getting a lot of buzz lately in regards to at least the past 2 years, where they've been giving early screenings. I think last year they gave an early screening to Top Gun Maverick. So theater chains got the opportunity to see the movie before they promoted it. And that's pretty much what CinemaCon is. It's the idea for them to get their upcoming films kind of shown and highlighted in front of the vendors and the theater chains that are going to be promoting their movies and things like that. And so Warner Brothers Discovery feels so confident about this Flash film that they're going to be premiering it at CinemaCon 2 months ahead of its release date in this upcoming June. So the Flash, it's got a lot of momentum and a lot of positivity coming from Warner Brothers Discovery. So we'll see how it goes. Still no decision from Warner Brothers Discovery as far as we know in regards to if they're keeping Ezra Miller around. They seem as though they're very much supportive of him getting his treatment and seeking therapy and really working his way through whatever issues that he's certainly dealing with, and at the same time going through the justice system for having to be held accountable for some of the things that are happening. So it feels very much like they are just letting all of that play itself out before making sort of any public statement as to what this, which route that they're certainly going to go. But they feel very confident about this film, and in April, CinemaCon will get the opportunity to check it out. What else we got here? Oh, Rick and Michonne for you Walking Dead fans. We've got a bunch of spin-offs coming out of this particular franchise. Even though The Walking Dead has officially wrapped, it is ended. I believe Fear of the Walking Dead is on its final season, or at least is about to be. And so we've got like 3 other spin-offs that are currently being filmed, and Rick and Michonne are back at it. The cameras are in fact rolling. They went ahead and dropped this behind the scenes photo to go ahead and commemorate the idea that the show is in fact being filmed right now. Not sure exactly how long, like if how long this particular series is certainly going to be. I don't know if Andrew Lincoln's only returning for like a minimum amount of episodes, but I do know that it is in fact coming. And I think out of all the spin-offs, this one definitely intrigues me the most because I've been waiting for the return of Andrew Lincoln for the longest time. And I think the next one is probably the Maggie and Negan one. I think it's like Dead City or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That interests me, but I honestly haven't watched The Walking Dead since Negan wind up killing Glenn, and I felt like all the joy was just ripped out of my soul, and I just stopped watching the show after that, unfortunately. So, yeah, definitely have a lot of Walking Dead spinoffs happening. But yeah, Rick and Michonne in front of the cameras. If you guys are excited about that as much as I am, certainly let me know. And I believe we've got Stuart back. Let me go ahead and bring him on in here. What's going on?
Hey,
How's it going, man?
going good. Looks like the internet connection is working a lot better now that I've switched to my cellular data.
A lot better. Well,
Can you,
can you move the camera the long ways? Wide shot?
uh,
Will they change?
I don't know. It's not. Doesn't look like it, which is
No?
weird. Yeah, it's just making me sideways.
No problem. Hey, let's see. Will it work? Hey,
Oh, there we go. Hey,
maybe
that's
we'll just do
better.
the show
Yeah.
like this today. Maybe we'll do it like this
Oh,
today.
perfect.
Let me.
Yeah.
I'm like right in my face though. Hold on a second. I can't be so close to the All right. Let's see what else we got here for honorable mentions. Oh, Stuart, one that you're probably excited about. Superman and Lois premieres March 14th. This sweet ass poster wind up dropping. Do you like this poster, man?
Dude, I love this poster. This looks straight up like it should be like a movie kind of poster. I mean, it just looks really good for a TV poster.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. As far as movie poster goes, yeah, I could definitely see this hanging up in a movie theater. But yeah, I absolutely love this poster. Are you excited for season 3? Is there anything like any expectations you have or anything like that?
Not sure what I'm really expecting from season three, but I am really excited. I guess I'm hoping that because one thing they were mentioning is that it's going to have a bit of a darker tone. So I'm hoping
Mm.
that that goes well, and that it doesn't like even if the show gets darker, it doesn't like mean like Superman himself becomes a darker character. I hope they can keep everything that's good about the overall family dynamic. I hope they can keep that like very good, but like have everything going on around them be dark. I'm intrigued, but like very cautiously optimistic. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I when you bring up the idea that they've been wanting to make this show a little bit darker, I mean, the tone is definitely set in their posters for sure. I mean, this definitely makes me feel like something is definitely about to go down this season. And I mean, even this idea, this being able to see the Fortress of Solitude, like just misty and just kind of, I mean, it just definitely sets sort of a very a much darker tone, I think, for the season than we're certainly used to. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I had something else loaded up here, but for some reason, I don't know why it does this, but they delete some of the images that I uploaded. Like I had this stuff situated and ready to go earlier, and now it's like what I was talking about was Shazam, guys. Shazam is back this week, only because we got brand new character posters for this film. For those of you who don't know, March 17th is in fact the release date. This film is set to go ahead and drop relatively soon here. I think we've seen all of the trailers that they have for us as of right now. If anything, there might be some TV spots that we're certainly checking out, but they did drop brand new character posters for this film. So you see Zachary Levi, Helen Mirren is here. You got Lucy Liu here also as another villain, and then of course we got Rachel Zegler's character as well. So it looks like the three sisters, if I'm not mistaken. Stuart, is there an excitement level that you have for this movie at all, or what's your mindset about Shazam?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I thought the first one was extremely well done. Pretty much everything I wanted in a Shazam movie, I feel like they absolutely nailed it with that one. Going forward, I really look forward to seeing, now that the kids are getting older, what's going to change about their characters. We kind of see like with one of them, I guess now when they changed into the Shazam form, I don't know what you would call it, but when they do the Shazam, she's still played by the same actress, whereas before she had been played by a different
Oh
one when
yeah,
she did that.
Mary
So I
Marvel.
want,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I'm wondering like how they're gonna like explain that in the movie, and like maybe it's like a thing of when you become an adult, like that becomes your Shazam form, and then it makes me also kind of wonder going forward, for Shazam 3, if Billy Batson turns 18, does that mean that Zachary Levi is no longer going to be Shazam, or is the kid going to turn into Zachary Levi when he gets older?
Yeah, that'd be pretty. That'd be pretty gold. I would love to see that. That'd be pretty funny. Yeah, I guess for me, I will say this: I am looking forward to the film. Like you, I was a really big fan of the first one. It definitely hit sort of what I expected it to be. I mean, I think they promoted it exactly what it was going to be, like big with powers, and then they had a really great sort of family dynamic in there, also a great sort of backstory for the powers and things like that. I had fun with it for what it certainly was, and so I definitely appreciated it. So when we go into Shazam 2, I am looking forward to seeing the scope of this movie expand, but at the same time, I do hope that it holds on to some of its charm and just the family aspect that we saw from the first one. I know that they're kind of all gotten older and stuff, but I still want to see what that family dynamic is like, with it still being a key focus, kind of like what the first one was. My worry for this is the idea of it ending up being just a sort of your generic superhero film. You know what I mean? Like when the main villain looks like it's the dragon, I'm like, so it's just Shazam versus a dragon. Like that's what I feel like is being promoted to me. So I hope it doesn't fall into the realm of just another generic superhero film. I hope they actually do something more with it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree too. I hope this isn't just like a sequelitis. We're making this for money, not because like someone actually has a good story to tell.
Right, exactly. So we'll see how it does for the franchise. But March 17th is here. This is going to be March is going to be a crazy month for movies, because not only do we have Shazam, but we also have John Wick and Creed 3. So this is going to be a fantastic start to sort of the summer blockbusters, I hope.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Creed 3, I'm going to be seeing that one Wednesday, hopefully for like a staff screening. So yeah, keep my fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, man, you got to tell us what you think of it when you get the opportunity to check it out.
Oh, I for sure will, without
Um,
spoiling anything, of course.
and then last but not least, I thought this was an interesting story I wanted to bring up, but I it almost actually made the cut for today's episode. But and I think you might appreciate this one, Stuart. The DC drama Dead Boy Detectives is actually moving to Netflix from HBO Max. For those of you who don't know about Dead Boy Detectives, it's a spinoff from the Doom Patrol, if I'm not mistaken. I think season 3. Is that right, Stuart?
Um, it's a spinoff of Doom Patrol in the same way Doom Patrol is a spinoff of Titans, or
Titans?
the same way Superman and Lois is a spinoff of Supergirl, because like it's not actually going to be the same Dead Boys detectives that were set up in Doom Patrol. It's going to be like a different version of them. But yeah, it was like kind of, I guess, originally meant to be a spinoff.
Let me read this real quick. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. It says the DC drama based on Neil Gaiman and Matt Wagner's comics has been sold from HBO Max, that developed the show, to Netflix. Warner Brothers TV shopped the drama after sources say the series didn't fit with the new chapter of content that James Gunn and Peter Safran are building for the comic book powerhouse. That plan includes 5 interconnected shows that live alongside Peacemaker on HBO Max. Also contributing to the show's move between platforms is the fact that HBO Max would not have been able to market the show until 2024, with the executives at the streamer blessing producers to take the show out elsewhere. And I do find this pretty interesting. One, Stuart, I think that there's I think there's a chance that this isn't just a one-off. I think if Dead Boy Detectives does relatively well when it comes to Netflix, I can easily see Netflix maybe wanting to produce it themselves maybe in the future after season one. And I think this also kind of goes back to David Zaslav's plan of the idea that he's not afraid to share his IP. And I don't think he's going to be just sort of like nilly-willy and let everybody do whatever, but I do think that he'll be open to selling some of their content that they're creating to other places to kind of diversify so they don't have everything just kind of on one platform. And I think that for them, that's another steady stream of income. So I do think that there's some level of good news behind this. But what do you think? What do you make of this, though?
Yeah, I think that would be a very smart move on his part, just on Warner Brothers' part. If they have if they want DC to feel more streamlined and they want to keep like all the shows that are supposed to be connected within one platform, but then move all the shows that are Elseworld stories to other platforms, then yeah, I think giving them to Netflix and Amazon would be kind of I think that would be a somewhat smart move. I think it would suck for a lot of consumers that want to have all their DC content in one really nice area. So, like, for me, I personally wouldn't like if they did it, but on a business standpoint, I can definitely see where they're coming from. And I think Netflix is a good home for like that kind of stuff because they have been doing really good with the DC content that they currently have there. Like, I don't know if you had a chance to check out Sandman yet, but I think like what they did with that was absolutely like fantastic. And then what was the other one that they have another DC show there that's been doing pretty? I think was it Antlers? Is Antlers a DC property?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's a DC title or not.
It may not be Antlers. It may have been a different one, but there is another like DC show they have there that's also like doing pretty well. So I think, and especially because like Dead Boy's Detective fits in that kind of like dark, more horror aspect of the DC
that supernatural genre type of thing. Yeah,
exactly. It would fit in very well with Sandman, I think.
Yeah, Netflix does have a really good lineup of like that type of supernatural horror, oddity sort of element. So I do think it's a probably good choice for it to land there. Trying to think if there was any other honorable mentions.
I got one.
What you got?
All right. So for the finale of The Flash, they are going to be going balls to the wall with this because not only are we going to be getting introduced to our final villain of the series, Cobalt Blue, who is going to be played by the same actor that played Eddie Thawne. So it's not confirmed if he's reprising like his role as an evil version of Eddie Thawne, or if he's going to be the character from the comics, who I believe is Eddie Thawne's son. So it could go like in several different directions. But so he's coming, and then on top of that, we got the return of Savitar, Godspeed, Zoom, and the Reverse Flash. So it's pretty much it looks like they are really going out with the speedster villains for the final Flash episode. I really hope they pull this off really well. Like this gets me incredibly hyped for the finale, and it just recently I haven't been keeping up with the Flash for kind of the funniest reason, honestly. It's because the only way I can watch the Flash currently is through the CW app, and just because of the season premiere, I just keep like every time I'm about to watch an episode, I keep thinking to myself, do I really want to sit through ads to watch this? Eventually I will like catch up, probably by the time they finish the what's his face? Red Death arc. By the time they finish that, I'll finally have caught up with the Flash. But just even if I'm not a big fan of how this season is starting, I feel like we're in for a pretty epic finale.
I have not had the opportunity to watch episode 3 yet. I probably will here. I do have it ready and pulled up to certainly watch, but I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet. But I'm going to be better about this season. I am determined to certainly watch this entire damn season. I don't care how painful it might be. But yeah, I'm like you. I hope that it's certainly, I do hope that they pull it off. I have seen the behind the scenes sort of footage or not footage, but photos that certainly have been out there. And so yeah, I definitely am looking forward to it. I definitely hope they pull it off though, man. I just hope it's not a thing of like each individual character on Team Flash takes the other one out with like this mediocre attack. Like they all of a sudden have not, like they're not the same power level anymore like they used to be. And it just ends in like a 40-minute disappointment. Like legendary battle, anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
so we'll see. We'll see.
Will-
All right. I think other than that, that will wrap up the honorable mention side of things. And we've got ourselves 6 topics that we're going to be bringing to you guys today. And I'm looking forward to it. Now, Stuart may not be able to join us for live viewer questions, but he'll definitely, you know what, Stuart, it's so funny, man. There is literally a question specifically for you. So you know what? Since you're not going to be here, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just going to have this question answered right now before you leave,
All
Stuart,
right.
because they literally sent this question in last week. And I said, bro, I'm so sorry. I probably can't answer this question for you because I didn't really watch this show. You probably have to wait for Stuart or probably have to wait for Stuart or Indy to be here. So yeah, and then they submitted the question again. So we're gonna get to this question before we even move on to main topics. Let me see if I can find it here real quick, and watch me not be able to find it anymore because I'm doing this live. That's usually how it happens, right, Stuart?
Always. I would try to look for it on my end, but I'm pretty much I got a screen showing me what's going on, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's from Kurt. It's from Kurt. He said, I should ask this again with Indy and Stewart, since both of you guys watched Batwoman. So in Batwoman season 2, when we had the character Tommy, aka Hush, impersonate Bruce Wayne by getting his face reconstructed, this storyline pretty much established what the actual Bruce Wayne might have looked like in the main Arrowverse. Though I did wish we were able to see him put on the Batsuit, even if it were just one episode, since it was still in the Batcave until Kate Kane took over. We know that CW couldn't use Batman officially because of the DCU owning rights. What did you think of when we actually saw an actor for Bruce Wayne, played by Warren Christie, in the Arrowverse, and later again in the episode when Luke saw an illusion of his father? When I saw the episode when it came out, the on-screen actor of the fake Bruce Wayne gave me Christian Bale vibes.
I can kind of see that. Okay, so my first time seeing him when he was like played by when he wasn't like actually Bruce Wayne, he was like the villain Hush. I thought it was just okay. I thought like it was just such a random, like kind of just forgettable actor to choose, and I was really surprised they didn't go for someone more memorable. Like the biggest one that I was like thinking is why not Jensen Ackles, who's been saying that he wants to play Batman on
Man, that would have
Batwoman.
been great.
Yeah, it would have been so memorable, and then to have him also like as being able to play both a good guy and a bad guy. Like I would have loved to have seen him play like an evil version of Bruce Wayne. I thought that would have been really brilliant. But there might have been some restrictions. Knowing Warner Brothers, they may have been like this Bruce Wayne can't stand out. You know, you can't try to one up any of the Bruce Waynes that we have in the movie. I wouldn't doubt if like literally the WB was like, yeah, no, don't try to make your Bruce Wayne good or that memorable. Honestly, yeah. I think that's what it was. So, anyways, that being said, I thought it was just okay. I thought. And of course, I don't blame the writers or anything for this other than COVID. I just thought it was a really weird way to start a premiere, especially for a new character, because he definitely felt like he was built up to be like the main final battle between, him and Kate Kane. You can tell that was the direction they were going in, and they didn't. And again, no one's to blame for that. That's just circumstances because of COVID. So, as Hush, I thought he was okay. Now, as Bruce Wayne, though, in that one scene that we got where he was like kind of a dream version of Bruce Wayne, technically not actually Bruce Wayne, I actually was kind of impressed by him. He definitely felt like a really, I definitely would have loved to have gotten to know him as Bruce Wayne a little bit more. I think there was definitely a lot of potential that unfortunately we kind of know that Warner Brothers was never going to allow them to actually fully explore. But I thought it was okay overall.
Yeah, I think probably the risk they have is, man, we can't find somebody that really looks like a great Bruce Wayne, because then people will probably be demanding more of this guy, and it's not his show. God damn it,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
That may
you
have
got
also been part of it too. Them being like, yeah, we don't really want a Bruce Wayne that's gonna one up, because I feel like that might have been like one of the issues with Supergirl, is that the moment you had Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, people immediately were like, can we get a Superman spinoff?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, that's it. Thank you so much for answering that question, and Kurt, I certainly hope you're happy it finally got answered for you. So, yeah, I wanted to go ahead and get that live viewer question out of the way. But Stuart, let's get into our main topics. You ready to go ahead and tackle these with me?
Always.
Awesome, man. Let's go ahead and do this. First up, some big news coming out of the camp for Warner Brothers Discovery. Just when I thought I personally couldn't get any more Lord of the Rings, as we have Amazon Prime currently doing the Rings of Power, it seems as though Warner Brothers Discovery is back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. They wind up actually striking a brand new deal so that more Lord of the Rings movies are on their way. Let's go ahead and certainly talk about this, Stuart. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up here for us. It is one of those things where it's like, Amazon wind up doing their own Lord of the Rings, and now it seems as though Warner Brothers wants to go ahead and start tackling their bigger franchises once again. And lo and behold, maybe they saw the success of Rings of Power and said, you know what? Maybe this is a money grab. Maybe people want some good movies coming out of this particular time period. And so this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. New Lord of the Ring movies in the works over at Warner's and New Line. It says the studio has struck a multi-year pact with the Swedish gaming giant Embrace Group, which holds the film rights to the property. For those of you who are wondering, how does it work for Amazon to be able to create Rings of Power? They own the rights for the TV side of things. So Warner Brothers and New Line are making the movies. It says the multi-year pact allows Warner's to develop features based on the J.R.R. Tolkien Lord of the Ring books and The Hobbit. They acquired the rights to produce Lord of the Rings films, games, merchandise, theme park attractions, and live productions. Which when it purchased it from the Middle Earth Enterprises last year. It says the move, which came from Warner Brothers Discovery investors call on Thursday, comes as CEO David Zaslav seeks to assure Wall Street that Warner's is very much in the franchise game, here harking back to the 2000s glory days when the studio was minting money with Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and the Dark Knight trilogy. And he says back in November, Zaslav said he would like to make a deal with J.K. Rowling for more Harry Potter, and initially floating the notion of a Lord of the Rings return. So it says in a statement, you even have Peter Jackson and his Lord of the Rings partners, Fran Walsh, noted that they were aware of the latest developments. I find that pretty interesting, Stuart. It said the trio, so they even gave comment. They said Warner Bros. And Embracer have kept us in the loop every step of the way. We look forward to speaking with them further to hear their vision for the franchise moving forward. And it does say that Jackson previously noted that Amazon asked him to be involved in the TV show, but then did not follow up. So yeah, it says Amazon holds the TV rights to Lord of the Rings, with the mega budget Rings of Power debuting last year. One question the new series of films will face is how to convince audiences to go to the theater if they can get their fix at home. One big difference here is Amazon focuses on the second age, thousands of years before the events of the film. The movie rights have focused on the third age, when the best known events happened and most beloved characters lived. It's possible that Warner's now could focus on new stories centering Tolkien's big guns, such as Gandalf, Bilbo, and Aragon. So, Stuart, I will go ahead and throw this over to you first. What are your thoughts on this move? And do you want to see more Lord of the Rings?
Let me put it this way. It's not that I don't want more Lord of the Rings. It's more that you're really gonna have to work really hard to convince me that this is anything more than just a studio cash grab. Because I feel like when it comes to the movie side of things, they've kind of touched all the bases you possibly can. The only possible direction I could see them taking the story is to do the prequel, which is already being covered by Amazon at this point. So yeah, I got to be honest. I really just don't see, unless they want to completely remake the movies from scratch, I really don't see much of a direction that they could possibly move with Lord of the Rings franchise that could get me interested in seeing more. Uh, you know,
Yeah, I guess for me that would be my biggest worry is like I am kind of curious as to what they're going to create here. Is it going to be a situation of hey, hey, Lord of the Rings remake coming your way, guys? We're rebooting it. We're going to do another one. I don't know. The only reason why I say I don't know if that's the direction they'll go, and God, I hope not. That would just be a waste of money, honestly. And the idea of keeping Peter Jackson in the loop, there's no way he's going to remake the film that he just did. So yeah, that's definitely not the route that they'll certainly go. But it does beg the question: where do you go from here? And so when I look at this article, I'm actually kind of excited for it personally. And I will say this: when you mentioned the idea of them milking this franchise, there was a part of me that said, yeah, this is probably them milking it. It is one of those things, like for me, I believe you have to almost create new content, sort of like post Lord of the Rings. And for me, the big question would be, how are Tolkien fans going to feel about that, right? Because they're probably going to be vocal. How does the Tolkien estate feel about something like that? Taking these beloved characters and sort of pushing them forward, when I feel like these are such beloved characters. It's like, can you tamper with that sort of thing, right? Like there are people that have issues already with what the Rings of Power are doing with the television show, like Tolkien Nights. There are people that are really big fans of that type of stuff that pay attention to that stuff. Might have their nitpicks about what the Rings of Power are doing. If they feel that type of way about a movie, and then you want to say, hey, but we want to branch off and create brand new stories of these characters, who do you trust Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson to take those characters and embark on a new journey? I don't know. So I will say this: I do think personally that's the route that they're probably going to go, but it would not surprise me if they also deal with pushback. But
mhm.
I do think it's pretty intriguing that they've allowed Peter Jackson and them to be fully involved. I think if anything, you probably do win over the general public by having them involved, because everybody loved the freaking Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? And if you say, hey, guess what? We're going to bring Peter Jackson back. The team that brought you the Lord of the Rings trilogy are back to go ahead and bring you the next installment. Shit, I think people would definitely go out to the movie theaters for that, despite some of the pushback that it might have. Because you're right? Where's Viggo Mortensen? Can somebody go get Viggo? I want to know what's going on with Aragon right now. Like after what happened, the fall of Mordor and Sauron, like there is an intrigue that I certainly have, even though some people might be like, that's blasphemy. You can't, the story ended there, but I do think that this is a smart move. But I can understand the worry, Stuart, in the sense of, are they just simply milking this for what it's worth and don't really have a solid story? Like, is this going to be a repeat of the Hobbit movies, making some bad decisions there? Or are we really going to get top shelf Lord of the Rings stuff? So I get the concern.
Mhm. And yeah, like I'll definitely I'll wait until the more news comes out about it before I really jump to conclusions. But as of now, I don't think I have too much confidence in it at the moment.
And I do find it interesting too here, on the sense that he seems like he wants to bring back franchises, right?
Mhm.
He's just talked about the idea of trying to encourage J.K. Rowling's to maybe do more Harry Potter, or at least allow them to do more Harry Potter stuff. Really getting sort of in their bag of some really big franchises. I mean, we've got the Matt Reeves stuff that's certainly coming through, right? So they kind of have their Christopher Nolan Dark Knight from like they did back in the 2000s and stuff. But I guess for me, the big question that I would have is like this almost feels like a trend currently in production companies. I mean, you look at Walt Disney, right? Like Bob Iger literally just announced also investing in billion-dollar franchises once again, right? His money makers, Toy Story, what was it, Zootopia, and there was another one in there, Frozen, right? So
Mhm.
is this becoming a trend, you think, Stuart, in the idea of them relying on what they know is successful for them?
It looks like it. However, I think the big downfall, if they're not careful, is that if they don't remember why these things were really successful,
Mm,
that that can be what ends up costing them in the long run. Because I feel like that's what oftentimes. I feel like oftentimes that's what kind of happens in studios. They want to recapture a feeling someone had at one
mhm.
point without really understanding why that feeling was there. So again, it'll definitely be a wait and see when it comes to that, because especially like when looking at the Disney side of it, I mentioned before, like I feel like Frozen is definitely a world we could explore more. But when it comes to the world of Toy Story, I kind of feel like what else can you really do with the movies except for kind of repeat what you've already kind of repeated from Toy Stories 2, 3, and 4.
Right. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Toy Story 4? Okay." Granted, I didn't see Toy Story 4, so I don't know. Maybe it was a great film and people were perfectly okay with the idea of Toy Story 5. Maybe people were disappointed in Lightyear and they were like, "Wait a minute, you tricked me. This isn't a real Toy Story movie that I thought it was going to be. I want a real Toy Story movie." And so now they're going to make 5 and that's going to make $1 billion. Who knows? So you never know, man. Look, I'll definitely be interested to see. I mean, look, Stuart, would you go see a movie of a returning Orlando Bloom as Legolas? Takes place in like the fourth age or something like that because he's an elf, he can live forever. Would you be down to see in something like that?
Uh, I'd have to know a little bit more about it, but yeah, that does sound like something that could definitely work if
At
they've
least a
given a lot of
concept
thought
that
into it.
that might
Yeah,
intrigue you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. We'll see we'll certainly see what route that they're going. But interesting move by David Zaslav here to certainly bring back Lord of the Rings. Clearly having Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh attached. So it's actually for me, it's like, oh, they're bringing the band back together. So we'll see if they can recreate that magic once again. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And let's see here. Next stop on our topics, we're going to stick into the movie topics, and then we're actually going to be jumping over to the Power Ranger franchise here momentarily. But we do have one more movie topic that we're going to be getting into because Stuart, the very talented Andy Muschietti, as a director, even as a writer, his name continues to get brought up here as of recent, as he is in fact in charge of as the director for the upcoming Flash movie. I think Christina Hodges is actually the writer of the Flash movie, but Andy Muschietti directed the Flash movie. He also directed it. He also directed it 2. And that particular franchise is coming back, and certainly in a big way, as it seems as though Andy Muschietti is getting behind the camera once again to give us an It prequel. There is plenty more of the story to certainly be told, Stuart, and it should certainly be an interesting one. And I can't lie, I think ever since It 2, I think they did a great job of sort of like planting Easter eggs and little things here or there that really just kind of showcase the true history behind just the creature and just how far back it goes. So I personally think the idea of an It prequel is fantastic, and it seems as though so does HBO Max, as they have officially ordered a prequel series titled Welcome to Derry, that's going to be coming from Andy Muschietti himself. It says the streamer has given a straight to series order for a new tale inspired by the Stephen King's epic novel. Let's see here. It says Pennywise the Dancing Clown is coming to HBO Max. Filmmakers Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti, who made the successful big screen adaptations It and It Chapter 2, along with Jason Fuchs, are on board for the project from Warner Brothers. Andy Muschietti will direct multiple episodes of the series, including the first episode. The show's working title is Welcome to Derry. Creative details are scarce, except that the series will be a prequel to the It films, promising to expand the vision of the movies. Fuchs will write the first episode, which is based on the story that the Muschiettis and Fuchs put together. And it says it looks like Brad, Caleb Kane will serve as co-showrunners on the project. It says, as teenagers, we took turns reading chapters of Stephen King's It until the thick paperback fell to pieces, is what the Muschietti said in the statement. It is an epic story that contains multitudes far beyond what we can explore in our It movies. We can't wait to share the depths of Stephen's novel in all its heart, humor, humanity, and horror. It says, I'm excited that the story of Derry, Maine's most haunted city, is continuing, and I'm glad that Andy Muschietti is going to be overseeing the frightening festivities, along with the brain trust including his talented sister Barbara. So everybody is definitely on board with this, Stuart. So let me go ahead and kick this over to you, man. You hear this news, HBO Max straight to order It prequel series, Welcome to Derry. How you feeling about this, man? Are you excited about it or what?
Yeah, actually, so my biggest complaint with the previous topic was that when it came to Lord of the Rings, I just didn't think there was really that much more story you could tell. But with it, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like there's plenty of room, especially if you're going with the prequel route. I feel like the two movies definitely set up a lot about the overall like kind of mythology of the creature itself, of Pennywise, and not to mention just I think. Oh shoot, I totally forgot. I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, so they set a lot up basically when it comes to the overall like kind of world of Pennywise and the It movies. So I feel like there's a lot they can explore, especially if they're doing the prequel that takes place like in the 50s, because that seems to be when like the kids. It would also be kind of funny too, because like in the book itself actually took place in the 50s. So if they wanted to have the show take place in the 50s, but just have it be the generation before the main characters of the kids, I think that would also be kind of a interesting route to go. Yeah, overall, I think this is excellent news, especially with Andy Muschietti returning. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of It too, I feel like that was more just because of like the studio rushing the movie. I don't think it was necessarily because he himself was an incompetent director or anything like that. I feel like it was kind of studio interference that made it not as good as the first one. But I feel like going into this one, if they take what they learned of what made the first two successful and they bring that to the television series, a lot of potential. A lot of times, Stephen King shows end up being really, really good, really well done. So I hope this continues that trend.
Yeah, speaking of which, I think there's a show on Hulu. I think it was Castle Rock.
Hmm.
Have you seen it at all?
I think my girlfriend was definitely watching it at some point. I don't remember how much of it I've seen, but I've definitely seen like bits and pieces here and there. It definitely looks very intriguing, and maybe one of these days when I have nothing else to watch, I'll get around to it.
Yeah, that's another Stephen King show that I think that when you mention the idea of translating some of his work into television series, it tends to be pretty good. I absolutely love what they've been able to do with Castle Rock. I definitely finished the first season. I meant to go check out the second season, but I unfortunately didn't get an opportunity to. I don't even know how many seasons they have now. They may have like they might just be on like the third one or something like that. But I am looking forward to this particular prequel series, honestly, too, just like you, man. I think there's a lot of potential here for sure, just like you said. I just the idea from It 2 alone, just getting the opportunity to see like, when the girl goes over to the old lady's house and you see like all the old photos and stuff on the wall, and you really kind of trace back just the lineage and just how far everything really does go. I just think there's so many like period pieces you can go back to, and who knows, maybe it's something that like each season is like a different time period of Deary. And so you don't necessarily have to be stuck with just one season and continuing that over multiple ones. I think it would be pretty cool to kind of change up the time period from from time to time, almost like I think of like a American Horror Story, sometimes like that anthology sort of concept, but maybe just keeping the idea of the it creature, just Pennywise, just like streamlined all the way through. I think that would be pretty fun and interesting to kind of see how they might do something like that. But who knows what Andy Muschietti is certainly up to. But I like you, Stuart. I was a big fan of the first It film. The It 2, while still enjoyable, I definitely felt like it fell off a little bit, but I wasn't aware of any issues behind the scenes. I just didn't keep a close contact in regards to that whatsoever. So that's pretty interesting and would certainly explain maybe why the film went in certain directions or felt the way that it did at times. So it definitely felt. Oh, go ahead, Stuart.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that was all speculation on my part. That wasn't like
Okay.
on anything. And
But
I
it
say
would
that
make
just
sense.
because it came out literally it came out literally a year after the first one, which kind of makes me think that it might have been somewhat of a rushed production.
And that certainly might make sense also. I never read the novels, but it kind of got a little bit more extra supernatural than even I was kind of expecting towards the end and stuff. Like I don't want to say a big CGI, fest, but it kind of felt like that a little bit, and it just kind of took away from what always felt like a smaller film to me in the first one. You know what I mean? But maybe that was just me. But when it comes to this, I think there's so much content that they can certainly mine from the it universe. And so for them to go ahead and create Welcome to Derry, I'm down for it, man. I think Andy Muschietti is going to be on a high. I think people are going to love what he wind up creating when it comes to the Flash, and then just be eager for more it content. So yeah, look, if I also think you probably have to get the thumbs up from Stephen King. I'm kind of curious how Stephen King feels about it, but hopefully he's cool with it. Have you heard anything about what he thought about the films?
No, I actually have no idea. I would assume he thought it was okay because he was willing to cameo in the second movie, which he
Oh,
doesn't normally do. Yeah.
that's true. He normally doesn't do that. So yeah, maybe he gave this his blessing. But HBO Max definitely continuing to dive back into franchises that were very lucrative for them. So yeah, I do think you make a good point in this, Stuart, that this one doesn't feel so much like milking in the sense of like, hey, we got a real opportunity here to create something awesome. So we'll see how it goes. But guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. How do you feel about the It prequel series? Straight to series order for Welcome to Derry. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below after this stream. All right.
Although, so
What you got?
something kind of funny though, just speaking of Stephen King, when it comes to like his adaptations, he's normally not a fan of a lot of them. Like I know that he
I'm sure
hated
he
The
isn't.
Shining, for example. So when he did Maximum Overdrive, he did. For the longest time, I'd always thought Maximum Overdrive was meant to be bad. So I've always praised that movie, like saying, "Oh man, this movie's hilarious. It knows exactly what it is. It doesn't take itself seriously." For the longest time, that's what I thought. And then it was only like probably a few years ago where I found out that no, Stephen King, this was actually his passion project. He actually meant for it to be a masterpiece.
Wow, and it ended up being a comedy. That's so sad. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny though. Oh man. Um, I'm trying to think of some other Stephen King films that I've actually seen. It's been so long since I've seen a Stephen King film, unfortunately. I think Pet Sematary might have been like the last movie that I've actually had seen of one of his books. But yeah, we'll see. But let us know, guys. Are you fans of Stephen King? Have you guys read any books or seen any television series or films of some of his work? Let me know your guys' thoughts down below.
Yeah,
Um,
I've actually like never read a single Stephen King book, but I've seen so many of his, the movies based on his books.
Yeah, I think I've seen a little bit of Cujo. I don't think I've seen all of it though. Pet Cemetery, Misery, I think is a classic that I think a lot of us have probably seen also. All right, guys, let's go ahead and switch gears here. We're gonna get into some Power Ranger talk, Stuart. And there was a buttload of it today, man. Like it was to the point of like really hard to kind of keep up. It was just like bam, Monday, bam. Wednesday, bam, Friday. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. It just left a lot for people to certainly talk about here this week. So we're gonna have some fun as we're gonna be diving into all of the Power Ranger Cosmic Fury news that wind up coming out here this week. And this is going to be coming to us. A lot of these articles, Stuart, are going to be coming to us from the Illuminati, always coming through. Good old Joe over there, along with Jezer, certainly putting it down, giving us the great information. I think they got some great writers over there also. I think it's Bryce West. I think shout out to Bryce. I think he was one of the writers for some of this content. And I think I think Bryce does like majority of all of the writings, but we'll give props and shout outs to whoever we need to. But Stuart, I'm going to keep you up on the screen for this one. I'm not going to go solo here because there's just so much to go into, man. I mean, first and foremost, can we talk about these costumes, bro, and these weapons? This was like the first tease, the drop in the bucket at the beginning of the week that was like, here's some Cosmic Fury stuff for you, as we get the opportunity to see the weapons for some of the Cosmic Fury team here. You got Ion with that huge arm blaster of his. You've got Javi with the battle axe. It looks like, I'm assuming it maybe hits a couple guitar chords there too. Who certainly knows? Izzy's got the freaking daggers. Look, I love the daggers, Stuart. I'm not gonna lie, but I think there's a big missed opportunity not having the javelin, since she's a track star and she used it perfectly in her debut. I would have loved the javelin here for her as her weapon. But for me, the gusto, the weapon that really just jumped out at me, Amelia's hammer looks fantastic. I love the look of the suits here, especially. I don't know if it's different lighting or maybe it's just like, hey, we've got accessories now, so it just makes the suit sort of pop a little bit more. But I love this photo here, and trust me, there's a lot of people that I have seen on Twitter that have been very sort of either negative about the suits or very sort of on the fence about the suits, that are now very much like, just this picture alone, they're like, yeah, I'm in a little bit more. Like, you're convincing a little bit more to trust in these suits. What do you think about them, man? Because I'm loving this photo here, just seeing all the pieces come together.
Yeah, this is why I really wanted to wait until we had some better quality images before judging, because I think this looks a lot better than the original photos that we had that were taken on like a cell phone. Quality is much better. It looks way better in the lighting. Yeah, and then I think that, yeah, like, I still wish there was something like kind of just on the chest, something in the center of their chest, basically like a symbol of some sort. But I am pretty sure that's probably going to be like a last episode type thing. Like, they might get like an upgrade to their suit, and that's what'll be there, because it feels like that's blank for a reason. But that might just be me. But that being said, I'm really excited to see these suits in action. I'm not going to say they're my favorites. They're definitely not my favorites when it comes to Power Ranger outfits, but I do think this is a really cool a really cool design, especially for our first original Power Ranger costumes. I love the weapon designs, though. I'm definitely with you. I think that the weapons look freaking awesome. Although, yes, I do think Izzy with a javelin would have made a little more sense. But that being said, she does look hella badass with the daggers. But yeah, I think my favorite definitely goes to Javi with his axe guitar. Like, that is a very badass and very Power Rangers things for them to do.
I mean, I'm just loving his Winter Soldier arm, man. Like, Javi's cool badassery level just went up like 3 notches, bro, with this new arm of his. I don't know if it's broken. I don't know if he's lost it completely. Who freaking knows? But the Winter Soldier vibe looks great on you, Javi, for sure. Absolutely love it.
I really want it to be like Zed just rips it off. I want them to start this series out with them being like, yeah, we're not messing around. This is a kid show, yeah, but Zed's a real threat.
Yeah, that would be incredible. But you're right. I will give props to at least the dagger design for Izzy looked pretty badass. And considering just her attitude and personality, the daggers definitely work very well for her, to certainly say the least. But I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, and I would agree with you too. I definitely continue to enjoy the suits for sure. They definitely continue to look better and better. But again, it's one of those things, they are certainly meant to be seen in live action, in movement, you know what I'm saying, on, when we actually watch the series itself. That's certainly when I'll give my full judgment in regards to them. But I continue to really enjoy them, so, for the most part. And I hope you're right, because there is a lot of like void space on their suit. So I do hope that it certainly gets filled. But for a first time, hey, coming out of the gates trying to create our own suits, I think it's a pretty good one for your very first suit, honestly. And I do think, if anything, it'll just continue to get better and better and make their improvements. I think as long as we creatively criticize it, I'm sure they'll probably take input from the fans and things like that in the future, and do more upgrading and just come up with the even upgraded designs in the future. So I'm looking forward to it. So not only did we get that photo, Stuart, but we also wind up getting the reveal here that we are in fact getting ourselves a seventh Ranger, Stuart. A seventh Ranger is actually going to be joining this, as we wind up having a new identity revealed. This is going to come to us from the Illuminati. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you guys. And to be honest with you, Stuart, I have yet to finish Dino Furies, but I feel like I've already been spoiled in regards to half this shit that we're talking about already. So I'm not even worried about it, honestly. Which by the way, I did watch, I think it was episode 17 just recently, when Fern finds out about Izzy being the Power Ranger. Big fan of that episode. I was a really big fan of it, honestly. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this is coming to us from the Illuminati, a seventh Ranger, an identity reveal for Power Ranger Cosmic Fury exclusive. So look, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. From this point on, we're going to be giving you a lot of Cosmic Fury details. If you don't want to know, close your ears, come back in like 30 minutes. We'll certainly see you on the other side of this Power Ranger talk. But let's go ahead and get into this, Stuart. This says the Illuminati can exclusively reveal that Cosmic Fury will be the first season in the history of Power Rangers to feature an Orange Ranger. The Orange Ranger will not be a stranger to those who have already seen Dino Fury seasons 1 and 2, as it will be Fern. Fern was first introduced in the first season of Dino Fury as a rival to Izzy, the Green Ranger. Later, the two grow to have feelings for each other and become girlfriends. Throughout both seasons, we see their relationship develop, and eventually Fern learns that Izzy is the Green Ranger near the end of Dino Fury season 2. Eventually, Fern leaves for college while Izzy stays to be a Ranger, but the two stay together. So wait, so that's the last time that we see Fern in the series?
Yeah, this is why the news for me in particular really surprised me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm a little bit bummed that I don't get to see Fern in more episodes of Dino Fury. I really am a fan of her and Izzy's relationship on screen. I think they got honestly great chemistry on screen personally, and I think they're both great actors in that regards. So I'm a little bit bummed that they just get to this reveal and she finds out, and we don't get to sort of enjoy the idea of them knowing. That's a little bit of a bummer for me, having that found out just now, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm excited she's coming back. Now we have learned that Fern will be joining the Cosmic Fury Rangers as the 7th member of the team. Fern will appear as the Orange Ranger in the 3rd episode of the season to help the Rangers in space. I do find that interesting also, Stuart, that they say the 3rd episode. It makes it sound like it's just a one-off here. So that is intriguing to me. Fern will continue to be okay. It says for see, Adam, just keep reading to the end of the paragraph, bro. Fern will continue to be a main character throughout the rest of the season. We currently do not have any information as to how she will gain her powers or meet the other Rangers in space. And then they talk a little bit about the history of the Orange Ranger when it comes to Power Rangers and how it certainly has eluded us for such a long time. So yeah, Stuart, big news here. That's all the details that they really have. I think this is a win, man. I think look, I'm a big fan of Fern. I think she's a great addition to the show. It's not all the time that I'm a big fan of the supporting characters for Power Rangers, but I think that they've done an amazing job, honestly, with quite a few of them. Say what you will about Jane and Jay Borg. I think Dr. Akana has been really great. And same thing here with Fern as a character. I've been a really big fan of the relationship that her and Izzy have been able to put across on screen, and they do a great job of really showcasing their emotions towards each other. So for me, I honestly love just the moment of them revealing their love for each other. Just the idea of like Izzy not wanting to come out fully to say that she's a Power Ranger is like, well, if I was a Power Ranger, I kind of find that dialogue kind of cute between the both of them, honestly, as well. So man, I want to see more of them now, and so I would be really fascinated to kind of see what that chemistry is going to be like now in Cosmic Fury, how much time has passed, right? How long have they certainly been apart, even though clearly Izzy can teleport in whenever she wants to or communicate with ease whenever she certainly wants to. But I think it's not only great to continue their relationship, but man, I think if like one, Fern is super athletic. She can certainly keep up with Izzy for sure. So I do think that she would make an incredible Ranger at some point in time, and it should be fun to kind of see like what her costume design is like. I'm interested to see like did they give her the very similar costume? I'm predicting skirt here this time around, and there's a part of me that does think maybe she'll have the same brand new costume that we see here from the Cosmic Fury team. But maybe that's just my thinking. I'm kind of curious to know what you think in regards to this, Stuart. Do you think she gets a costume like the rest of Cosmic Fury, or do you think it's do you think that they go what is it? What was the name of the series? Um what was the name of the Super Sentai series for this? I'm blanking.
Q Ranger.
Do you think they go like the Scorpion suit for her, or do you think they keep it original costume for her?
I highly doubt it would just be kind of weird to have like a very different costume that just doesn't match the other
I mean,
Rangers.
she's a
So
seventh
I would,
Ranger.
that is true. So I think it'll definitely stand out in some way. It'll be unique to the other suits, but I'm predicting it will be somewhat similar in line with the other Cosmic Fury outfits. But yeah, I also do agree that I do think we are going to see a skirt, and I just based that purely on the prom episode. Because she was the one that wanted to wear a dress to prom.
Good point.
I'm pretty sure we'll see a skirt on it, but yeah, I'm expecting it to kind of stand out, look very different from the other Power Ranger or Cosmic Fury suits, but very much like I'm expecting kind of a similar dino design with the helmet, kind of like what they'll all probably have. But yeah, like this is a really cool news for sure. Because we have had Ranger couples before, but never like an LGBTQ plus couple on the show. So that's definitely something that I can see a lot of people getting hyped about when going into the season.
Yeah, that's a really great point that you make also. I didn't even consider that, but that's a really great point that you make also. So I am really looking forward to this, man. I truly am. I think Johnny said something that really fascinated me here. He did say the Cosmic Fury daggers has a nice homage to Trini's power daggers and the green dragon dagger. What do you think? I do. I
Oh
am
yeah.
kind of curious if that is an homage for sure.
They look kind of different from Trini's daggers, but I could definitely kind of see a little more of a similarity to the Green Ranger's dagger. Just with this one I think has like more of a curve. I think if anything, it just kind of reminds me of the dagger that we see Zeta with in like the very first episode. The one that he like kind of throws at a Void Knight. That's what it kind of reminds me of.
I am fascinated in the idea of this being our very first, look, leave it up to Simon Bennett and the writers to give us a year of first, man. I mean, they've given us 2 seasons of firsts. Cosmic Fury is just going to be unlike anything that we've seen before, and they're continuing certainly that momentum of giving us a ton of firsts for us. I mean and of course now we're going to be on Netflix, right? The creative chains have been broken, if you will. New amounts of episodes. I am interested to see how this is going to turn out. Blossom, kind of on the fence. Fern as a Ranger, I don't know. As long as they're not too lovey-dovey and find themselves staring into each other's eyes and forget to actually fight for a second, then I'm cool with the idea of couples being on the Rangers team. I think they can make it work, but we'll see.
Has that ever happened before? Has there ever been like a episode where like maybe Tommy and Kimberly or I've seen one where they're both fighting with each other and that's what causes them to get their butts kicked in the fight. But I've never seen one where they get lost in each other's eyes and then that's what ends up being a problem for the team. So that'd be kind of a funny dynamic to have. Like as long as it's like only one episode and like one fight and it never happens again, I wouldn't mind seeing like one scene where it's just the two of them accidentally getting lost in each other's eyes while they're in the middle of a battle.
Absolutely, man. He does say, curious as to know which dinosaur Fern will be based on. Dimetrodon? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That would be an interesting one. I mean, they got a Zord ready if they're ready for it. He also says if there was to be a 7th Ranger and a Orange Ranger, I'm glad it's Fern. I just hope they do her justice in 10 episodes. Yeah, that would probably be one of my concerns also. Goku, what's up, Goku? Good to see you in here. Says it seems like there are more returns of certain Rangers to have people pilot the other Zords. Certainly a possibility. I thought there was like early reports that we're reading about Cosmic Fury, at least in the early development of it, the idea of maybe having other Rangers kind of come onto the team or like kind of cross over. So if they are using Zord footage, maybe they do have to find some people to kind of fill up all those cockpits. So yeah, you might be onto something.
Yeah, like 12. They have like 12 different Zords in that show. Because 12 Rangers, each of them with their own individual Zord. Yeah.
I am fascinated that they do mention that she'll be she will appear as the Orange Ranger in the 3rd episode of the season to help the Rangers in space. But then it says Fern will continue to be a main character throughout the rest of the season. Do you think this Ranger, the Orange Ranger, is a one-off?
Hard to say. It could mean that, or it could also mean that maybe she appears as the Orange Ranger in the 3rd episode, but she's in all 10 episodes.
Oh, that would be pretty cool, especially if it's like a surprise and Izzy has no idea who it is. And she shows up and she demorphs and she's like, oh my God, it's my girlfriend. And then she's part of the team, but just as Fern the rest of the way. I can see that, Stuart, in the sense of her showing up as the Orange Ranger.
Yeah. Definitely intrigued to see how they handle that. And they mentioned her as the 7th Ranger. I'm also kind of curious because, like you mentioned, there being like a bunch of different Zords and everything. I wouldn't be too surprised if she wasn't the last new addition to the team too.
I mean, I don't know, Stuart, because we're about to talk about another addition to the team. Well, I don't know if it's an addition to the team or not, but we do have more. There are going to be more people in this series, guys. We've got more cameos certainly happening. Not only is it Fern that's going to get the opportunity to be a Ranger, but I think something that we've been waiting for as fans since it was a Dino Supercharge to actually happen, as it seems as though good old Ryan Carter, who played Heckle, will in fact be making his return to Power Rangers as none other than the Dark Ranger himself. That's right, guys. We thought we were going to get this years ago, and Saban let us down. We were sitting around holding our dick, Stuart, waiting for this to happen, and nothing happened. Just left us here to we just left us, man. They teased us.
Let me just say, I'm so glad you brought this up because I totally forgot about this.
I mean, the tease was there, Stuart. The tease was there all season long. You knew this guy was gonna put a costume on, and Saban flipped us the finger, Stuart. He said, not today, but you know what? Leave it up to Simon Bennett. Leave it up to the writers. Leave it up to the Hasbro to come through for its fans, as that's right. Ryan Carter will return to Power Rangers Cosmic Fury as the Dark Ranger, another exclusive from the Illuminati here. It says Carter first appeared in Power Ranger franchise as Heckle In Dino Supercharge and Charge in those seasons, the character was a Jekyll and the Hyde type character called Heckle and Snide. By the end of Power Rangers Dino Supercharge, Heckle was able to separate from Snide and join the Rangers. During the airing of this season, it was heavily speculated by fans that Heckle would become a Ranger based on Death Yuger from the Kyoryuger Super Sentai series. However, this Ranger form never appeared in the show, despite the Dino Charge Morpher toy having a sound of an unknown Talon Ranger. So, Stuart, they were right there. They were right there. And you know what? Saban said, F you. I really don't know, but I'm just talking shit right now. After the events of Power Rangers Dino Supercharge, Heckle became the keeper of the Dark Energem, which previously turned him evil. Heckle and Zenowing, the Dino Charge Silver Ranger, returned to Heckle's home planet, Sentai 6, to guard the Dark Energem. Unbeknownst to Zenowing, Heckle started building a morpher for the Dark Energem based on the Titano Charge morpher. He is then able to morph into the Dino Charge Dark Ranger. So he's been, I definitely have seen him play around in the comic books for sure. Says, what will Dark Ranger be doing in the Power Rangers Cosmic Fury? Since the Dark Ranger has so far only appeared in Power Ranger comic books, it is unknown how he will be adapted for the show. In the comics, Heckle has had many space adventures, so it makes sense for him to appear in a space-themed season. However, the comics are usually considered to take place in a separate universe from the show. So really, the big question is nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. In the show, it was established that he is an alien from Sentai 6. So yeah, that's all that they really have for us. So Ryan Carter coming back as Heckle to finally portray himself as the Dark Ranger. I'm super pumped for this, Stuart, because yeah, like I ranted at the beginning, this was supposed to happen, man. Dark Ranger, Talon Ranger, I don't care what he was gonna be named. You have a toy that tells me Talon Ranger. Yeah, this dude was supposed to be in here for sure. So definitely a little bit of a bummer, but again, people want to ask me all the time, Adam, do you think Hasbro cares about the property? Yes, I do think Hasbro cares about the property. When they do little things like this, it makes me appreciate them just a little bit more, that they're certainly going all out. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We really are getting extremely spoiled here for the 30th anniversary. They could have probably just not done anything if they wanted to and just held out until their reboots, but they wanted to at least give us fans certainly at least another year of Power Rangers to definitely enjoy. And I think the fact that they've given us an MMPR special and Cosmic Fury special, look, could they both be crap? Absolutely. But they've got some great showrunners certainly behind these projects. And I think that they are very much focused on making this quite successful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this certainly comes together. But I'm finally happy that we're going to be getting ourselves another Ranger form here for us to enjoy. Stuart, I got to know your thoughts on this, man. I'm craving to know what you think about this.
I don't think it comes to shock to anyone that, yes, I'm really hyped about this. This was something that I wasn't really, I can't say I was disappointed by when we never got him in Dino Charge, because I didn't know about this Ranger until after Dino Charge had already ended. So it was like I was disappointed afterwards, because I'm like, ooh, this would have been a really cool storyline. And then I was even more annoyed when I found out like the supposed reason of why we never got him, being that Saban thought it would be too violent to have a Power Ranger that's evil or Power Ranger that kills people. I'm like, literally, do you not remember your most popular Ranger? How he started off as a bad guy and became a good guy? It was like such a weird reason to not include him. And even if that is the reason, it's not like you have to go with the Sentai story. You can do whatever story you want with this character. So it was really cool to see this character like appear again in the comic books. What I like about this going into Cosmic Fury is there are quite a few different directions they could definitely take this character. Like, I know that they say the comic books aren't like in the same universe as the show. However, that's kind of like when we're comparing it to the main universe. Like, I think it's safe to say that maybe, unless it just coincidentally there happens to be 2 Dino Charge universes and 2 RPM universes, I think it's safe to say that the Dino Charge Rangers that we see in the comics are the same ones that we see in the show, then same with the RPM ones. I like to just think that the MMPR Rangers are the only ones that take place in a different universe, and that the other, Rangers that we get that are already from different universes are canon. That's just how I look at the comics. I don't know how the fans view it. So I could see them kind of going in that direction, given the explanation of the comics overall, like continuity within the Power Rangers TV show, if they wanted to do that. Or there's a whole nother direction that they could take this in, because with Cosmic Fury taking place, of course, in the main universe, there's no reason that Sentai 6 can't exist in the main universe, and that we can't have, a whole different version of Heckle within the main universe, a version of Heckle that has like a completely different backstory, not related to anything that happened within Dino Charge. So I think that's what excites me about this character in particular coming back, is that there are multiple directions that they could take this character's story, and I think any one of them sound extremely interesting to me.
I think that's a great perspective in the sense that this might not even be the Heckle that we knew, right? Like this could just be from the main universe Heckle, from Cosmic Fury, and that would certainly be interesting to kind of see how he manages to also bump into the Rangers. I think that would be actually a pretty interesting concept if they wanted to really kind of switch things up a little bit and really keep it a little bit more interesting. So I kind of dig that concept, Stuart. For those of you also here, let me go ahead and pull up another photo of him for you guys. If anything, Stuart, if I can just be honest, I guess from me, if there was anything that concerns me, it's probably the addition here of the Talon Ranger or the Dark Ranger. Like I'm excited for him, but there's a part of me that's kind of getting a little bit worried that this series is getting a little bit crowded. Kind of what somebody else had mentioned in one of the comments. You the addition of Fern is great, and I absolutely love it. But now we got Fern, and we've got Talon the Dark Ranger, right? So he might he might be our 8th Ranger. I guess it's really going to kind of come down to execution for me. If you're really telling the story in 10 episodes, I am kind of curious as to how involved are these characters? Are they around from the get-go? Do you focus on their backstory, like, hey, what you been up to all this time, sort of thing? Or are they plugging people in that they feel maybe they can get away with not necessarily having to explain where they've been, or they've got really great sort of 1-2 liner sort of explanation so they can get out of the way and just keep the story moving forward? Do you worry about the idea of them being too, like, I get it's the 30th anniversary and you want to please a lot of fans, but I do wonder, like, in 10 episodes, do you think that they can handle all these characters, or do you think they'll find a way to truly balance it out with a huge ensemble cast like this?
Well, I think it kind of depends on this character's role, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was anything saying he was going to be more than a one-off episode character. So
Right.
I feel like it'll work just fine if he's only there for one episode, and like he just happens to be involved with whatever mission the Rangers are on. The only thing that would, but yeah, if he does end up being like a member of the team, like a series regular, then yeah, I would definitely share that concern, because I think that, yeah, if you're doing 10 episodes and you're trying to fit in 8 Rangers into one team for those 10 episodes, it can definitely get really cluttered, I think.
I think like Gokaiger did it well in the sense of bringing back, Sentai characters for just like a one-off episode, right? And helping them push certainly their story forward. Maybe it's something along those lines. And then maybe they returned for like a big climactic battle, sort of like at the end of the season or something like that. So you're right. I mean, I do think if based off of 10 episodes, is there a little bit of a concern for me? Yeah, there is, but I guess it'll all come down to what the writing and the execution of is like, and really how they sort of introduce them. So we'll see how it goes. But regardless of that little bit of worry, I'm really super pumped that we're getting ourselves an Orange Ranger, as well as the Dark Ranger, or Talon Ranger as they want to call it. So a lot to definitely look forward to when it comes to Cosmic Fury. And Stuart, that's not it, brother. That's not it. Because we've got more additions to Cosmic Fury, and I swear to God, Stuart, I swear to God, if these two become Rangers also, I'm I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. But never say never, I guess. At the end of the day, it should be an interesting one here. But we've got two other characters from Dino Fury are in fact going to be returning for Cosmic Fury. And listen, these are some fan favorites because I'm a big fan of both of them, honestly. And that is in fact Mucus and Slither, played by none other than Campbell Cooley himself and Stuart. And I don't know if Campbell's still in the chat or not, but I can never remember the lady's name that does the voice work for Mucus. I think she does an incredible job. And is that the same actress that did her also live action Mucus? I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Campbell's in the chat or not. If he could chime in if he's there, but I love both of these characters. What about you, Stuart?
Oh yeah, I think they're both absolutely hilarious, especially when they're on screen together. I think they have such like great chemistry. And when we got that little tease at the end, part of me was worried that it was just going to be a tease and nothing was going to come from it. So when I saw this news, this got me really excited that we get to see a lot more from them going on. And yeah, I really hope we get to see them like outside their costumes like this because as great as they are as voice actors, I think they both equally bring that charisma just as well when they're outside the suit too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The actress that played Mucus, I thought was just the most adorable. I mean, yeah, I don't think you could have casted better for Mucus. Honestly, I think they did an incredible job. And Campbell Cooley is such a charmer. I feel like he's such a showman. I feel like he probably like if he was born in like the 40s or 50s or maybe like the 20s. I can see Campbell as like the showman presenter, or even like a magician. Honestly, he just has like that aura about him. I absolutely love Campbell. But let's go ahead and dive into this because yes, two unlikely allies are set to join Power Rangers Cosmic Odyssey. This is an exclusive from the Illuminati themselves. It says, while we eagerly await the milestone 30th season, Cosmic Fury, we continue to keep you all occupied and informed. Today we have a fresh delivery of okay, yada. Okay, so they reveal that Mucus and Slither will be helping our color-coded heroes in human form throughout the Power Ranger Cosmic Fury. Let's see here. It says in both seasons of Dino Fury, yada yada. Okay, so I'm trying to see if there's any more information here. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Okay, so it says they will show up at some point near the end of Power Ranger Cosmic Fury to aid the Rangers. However, it is unclear on how or why they will help the Rangers. So yeah, they don't really know, Stuart. So it just seems as though, hey, they may be popping up towards the end of this season. So that was actually a lot easier of a story than I thought we would have to cover in regards to that one. So yeah, they may pop up. Stuart, this has the making of, oh my God, who's gonna man our last two Zords? And then fucking Slither and fucking Mucus pop up, and they're like, hey, we'll help you out. You think that's how it's gonna go down, or you think what do you think's going on with this, man?
Oh man, I think there's a huge chance something like that could happen. It's going to be either that, or they give them kind of like that Darth Vader kind of storyline where Zed is just so overconfident because he doesn't think any of his minions would dare stand up to him, and so that kind of ends up being his downfall. Is like the two of them are the ones that like finally stand up to Zed and give the Rangers that like edge they need to finally win the day. They could do like one of those two directions. I honestly didn't expect them to be aiding the Rangers though, because I was like thinking, oh, they're gonna probably appear in Cosmic Fury as like antagonists, maybe for a one-off episode. To see them aiding the Rangers though, very, very excited and very curious on to like why they decide to change sides altogether. What influences them, if I had to predict anything, I'm going to assume maybe Void Knight is the one who convinces them. But yeah, this is man, the more this whole day, man, I'm just getting more and more hyped the more news we get for Cosmic Fury, and this is definitely that perfect cherry on top.
Yeah, this was like a perfect cherry to the week, honestly. Kind of like giving us a little bit light, like a little lighthearted news, because these are two characters that I think a lot of people really appreciated from Dino Fury. And for me, it is one of those things where I remember watching Real Soldier, and towards the end of the Real Soldier series, the Mucus character does sort of become like allies with the Ranger team. I think he winds up, he or she winds up getting like just really upset that like her boss like just continues to just treat her like crap. You know what I'm saying? Like just does not appreciate all the hard work, sort of thing, and finds themselves in just a really interesting predicament. Where they certainly have got to like sort of choose as to do I continue to stay evil and work for this person that just like tramples all over me, sort of thing, or do I really sort of help the Rangers out? And so maybe there's a little bit of element of that kind of kicking in. Again, I haven't finished the Dino Fury season yet, so I don't know what Mucus and Slither's final fate certainly is, but I can see them taking a little bit more of a lighthearted role and being here in Cosmic Fury. So if they pop up towards the end of the series, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe they'll kind of be sprinkled in here throughout the series a little bit, but maybe just get a really big moment towards the end in regards to helping out the Rangers a little bit. But yeah, I think this is great news, man. A week of great news, I think, when it comes to Cosmic Fury, and a lot to certainly look forward to.
Now, if we could just get that trailer.
Right? Definitely.
You know what? I think Simon Bennett is waiting for you to finish Dino Fury, so hurry up and finish Dino Fury, and then he'll give us the trailer.
Yeah, you guys are waiting on me. I'm so sorry. We probably could have had this months ago, and it's all my fault. Marcelino does say, well, Gokaiger also had 50 episodes. Yeah, they did have 50 episodes to kind of work with the one cameo an episode for sure. That definitely benefited it. Goku says, I hope Cosmic Fury doesn't become who's the next cameo every episode. We'll see. It'll come down to execution and how this story itself is worked out. But 10 episodes. When you tell me 10 episodes, I got it. To me, it just tells me you have a focus at least. You have the story that you certainly want to tell. How all these moving parts work within that story, though, will certainly be interesting. And honestly, Stuart, I'm gonna be honest with you about something. Can I just be like, I love this news, but there is a but at the end of that sentence, and the but is, I love the news, but I would have wished to have gotten this late April, early May. And I only say that because I don't at no point in time, if I'm Hasbro, do I want attention taken away off of my MMPR 30th anniversary season. We're a month or so away from it dropping here on Netflix, maybe like a month and a half or so. I want any Power Ranger news that's out there to be MMPR. David Yost winds up dropping his Tyrannosaurus thing. I wonder if that was in response to, hey, Cosmic Fury is being talked about too much. Maybe Hasbro was like, hey, David, can you drop some behind the scenes stuff for us? And maybe he gives us his morphing sequence, for us to talk about that a little bit. So yeah, while I appreciate all the detective work and all the sources that these people have and the news and information and stuff, I do wish as like a publishing company, that's something that maybe could have been sat on, say, after April or early May. You know what I mean? Am I being an asshole about that or what?
No, I don't think you are. I think that honestly makes perfect sense.
Like if you're going to leak anything, maybe give us more leaked MMPR stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think what just happened is that they probably just got the information and they're like, oh no, if we got this information, it's only a matter of time before other sources get it. So we got to drop this before those other sources get to it. So I don't blame them. But yeah, I'm definitely with you. I kind of wish they would have we could have waited for this news to get leaked, or I don't even know if it was leaked or if they just gave the news to the Illuminati. I'm not 100% sure how it worked, but yeah, I do overall agree with you.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate all the hard work that they do there. If they got the news, you're right. It could have been the case of, hey, we got to drop this now because before somebody else certainly does. So I definitely understand that for sure. You drop it when you certainly can, but yeah, I definitely I'm so hyped for MMPR. I guess maybe there's a part of me that's like, man, I want more MMPR news now. So we'll see
Yeah.
how that winds up turning out. But we'll see, guys. Let us know your levels of excitement for Cosmic Fury. Still no release date. I would assume probably in the fall, maybe like September. But again, that's just me assuming. But once we have ourselves a release date, we'll definitely let you guys know. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below in regards to all the Cosmic Fury news today. And with that out of the way, Stuart, we got 3 more topics left. Let's see how we can go ahead and knock this out for you guys as we're going to transition from Power Ranger news to Marvel news. That's right. I mean, I feel like the hits just keep coming, Stuart, when it comes to all the news that we wind up getting here this week. I think some really big topics. And one of them is a new casting announcement for the upcoming Thunderbolts film. For those of you who I probably can't remember everybody on this Thunderbolts team in this upcoming Marvel Studios film. I think we've got Winter Soldier, Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster, U.S. Agent. Am I missing anybody?
Um,
I think that's
I think you
everybody.
got them all. Yeah,
I
I think
think
so.
that's everybody for the most part. Just your MCU misfits, your villains now maybe turned heroes. Who certainly knows? But we do have new information in regards to who's going to be joining the cast. Because if you thought the idea of Harrison Ford as General Ross was a big deal, I think this is just as exciting, honestly, Stuart. And this comes to us from Deadline.com. To let us know one of our fan favorite actors is finally joining the MCU. As from Deadline.com, Thunderbolts say Steven Yeun joins Marvel Studios pick in a key role. Obviously, Marvel's not going to go ahead and let us know who it is, but this is an exclusive. It says following his Oscar-nominated role in Minari. I didn't even know he was nominated for an Oscar. And scene-stealing part in Nope, Steven Yeun is continuing to show his range as he is now looking to add a Marvel movie to his resume. Sources tell Deadline he is set to join the Marvel Studios Thunderbolts in a part that is not only significant to this film, but could also play a role going forward in future films of the MCU. And he does talk about the ensemble cast, which, yeah, I think I got everybody except Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I forgot about her, played by Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Let's see here. Does it say anything else in regards to that? No, I think it says, yeah, not much is known about the plot of the film, but in the comics, revolves around a group of villains who were sent on a mission commissioned by the government. I think that's all the information that we have in regards to this one, Stuart. But I think this is big news, man. I think I see people already kind of making, got some rumors, some predictions as to who he could certainly possibly be. What do you think about this addition? I think Steven's done some fantastic work as of recent. Do you think this is a big pickup for the MCU?
Yeah, for sure. He's great in almost everything that I've like seen him in. You know, from The Walking Dead to Sorry to Bother You to Nope, and even like his one-off appearance in I Think You Should Leave. I think he's definitely a really great actor with a lot of range. So seeing him joining the MCU, it makes perfect sense. I have zero predictions, however, as to what role he's going to be playing in the Thunderbolts. But I do hope it ends up being a big one that, depending on how he does in this role, hope it ends up being one that we get to see in future Marvel movies going forward.
Yeah, I hope so also, man. Give me one second here. I'm trying to download an image here. Yeah, I'm hoping he's got a pretty big role also. The character, for the most part, that I think right now that a lot of people are speculating that he might certainly play. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull up this image here for you. And I find it an interesting one here for several reasons. But for those of you who may not know, this character right here is Amadeus Cho. He is also known as the totally awesome Hulk. in the comic books. So we do have ourselves another sort of Incredible Hulk here. I believe Amadeus might actually end up being like a scientist, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong though. Let me see if I can. Is there a Wikipedia for him? His character is also known as Brawn. So that's the character name. So I guess the title of his comic book is the Totally Awesome Hulk, but his character name is Brawn. It says using special nanites. Let me see if I can find his history. Where'd it go?
Because if I'm not mistaken, this character is also meant to appear in the Spider-Man animated series, I believe.
Oh, really?
Spider-Man freshman year, I think so. Yeah.
It says using special nanites, Amadeus absorbed the Hulk's powers, becoming a gamma-powered monster and the new Hulk. So that's pretty interesting. So that's again, this is not confirmed. This is just a speculation that fans have in regards to who Steven could possibly be playing in this role. For me, I'm perfectly cool if that's who he's going to be playing in here. If that's what it's eventually revealed to. There is for me, if anything, Stuart, I do find it fascinating because it's like another Hulk that you want to introduce. I do find that kind of interesting, right? Like we literally have Bruce Banner's Hulk. We got Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. If you watch She-Hulk series, we now have Hulk's son, Scar, if I'm not mistaken, also. And now you're introducing the idea of Amadeus Cho. I am kind of interested to see how he's introduced in here. Is he immediately going to become a Hulk? Is he a failed experiment of them trying to recreate the Hulk again? I would be even more fascinated, Stuart, if they took the Amadeus Cho character and instead of Harrison Ford's Thaddeus Ross as the Red Hulk, I would be interested to see if Steven Yeun as Amadeus Cho winds up becoming the Red Hulk. I would be interested to see if they would make that sort of twist in regards to an origin story or for the character itself. You know, I don't know if Harrison Ford's like, yeah, CGI me up, and just put my face on this CGI character. I don't know if they'll go that route, but they say he's going to be an important character in Thunderbolts and have a role to certainly play going forward. Do you need a Brawn? Another Hulk in the MCU going forward? I don't know. So I am kind of curious if that's even who he's playing. There are a couple of other great Thunderbolt characters from the comic books. You got Atlas, who grows big, similar to that of like Goliath and Ant-Man. That could be a possibility. I've heard some people suggest Mach 1, who was also the villain Beetle from the comic books, who upgraded to Mach 1 to pretend to be a superhero. That would be pretty cool. A jetpack flying superhero might be pretty cool for Steven also. So I'm intrigued. I do think there are several different routes that they can certainly go here. But I think the addition to Steven to anything is a win, honestly, when it comes to Marvel. And I'm such a big fan of his from The Walking Dead. I think everybody loves Glenn. And so it's like we just want this man to succeed in anything that he does. So yeah, putting him in the MCU, I think is a good move here by Marvel.
Oh yeah. I actually think it's kind of funny. I wouldn't doubt if like we end up seeing even more Walking Dead actors kind of joining the MCU, because there has been that like long running rumor with Norman Reedus joining the MCU as the Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and plus we also have Michonne, in Black Panther, and then you also have Jonathan Bernthal and the Punisher. Yeah, just bring in the Walking Dead actors. Now that show's coming to an end.
Yeah, why not? Just pull it off. I think they can make it work. I think Steven will fit perfectly in here. I even saw some people saying Sentry. I don't know about that. I don't know if I can see Steven as Sentry, unless he's gonna take like the Rock workout regime. You know what I'm saying? Regiment,
Yeah.
whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. How do you feel about Thunderbolts so far? Now that you know that Steven's going to be in here as an unknown character, but apparently having a significant role in the MCU, who would you certainly like to see him pop up as in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie? Stuart, if I could be honest, Captain America: New World Order and Thunderbolts, for me, continue to be more and more fascinating. If anything, I don't know how intertwined they're going to be when it comes to story wise, but the fact that they have that interconnective thread of Thaddeus Ross as Harrison Ford makes me really intrigued by both of these to see if they are in fact connected in that sense. Because I feel like so far when it comes to the MCU, we've had so many sort of singular projects. Although it is kind of nice to see like WandaVision pay off in Doctor Strange, low key kind of paying off in um, um, Ant-Man and the Wasp sort of thing. So it is kind of cool to kind of see things from television connecting with the movies a little bit more. So when it comes to this, though, I feel like as far as big projects go for the MCU, I'm fascinated to see how the Thunderbolts and Captain America work out together.
Same here. Um, I think if I'm a betting man, I'm going to probably bet that depending on which one comes first, I feel like they're going to be very closely connected. Oh god, I'm trying to think of an MCU example that we may already have. Um, I don't know. I think it's going to be almost borderline a direct sequel. I think the only real difference is going to be is the only thing stopping it from being a sequel really is going to be the fact that Captain America won't be the main character in the Thunderbolts. But I do think that they are going to be very directly connected to each other and borderline sequel like.
Yeah, it's almost like Falcon and the Winter Soldier series literally got split up in their own movies. Because Sam Wilson as Cap gets his own movie, and I think Bucky is in fact the Winter Soldier is like the de facto leader of the Thunderbolts in here. So it's almost like he's the lead of this ensemble cast. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So let's see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And from one Marvel project to the next, one that continues to fascinate me more and more, Stuart. Not just listen, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Captain Marvel movie. It was pretty subpar to me, honestly. I stand by that. I even rewatched it again. I might have enjoyed it a little bit more, honestly, but it is still a movie that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. So the idea of going into a Captain Marvel 2, for me, I'm very much hoping for a breath of fresh air. And so while I'm definitely not coming back to this particular movie because I was a fan of the first one, I am coming back to this because I am a fan of the talent that they certainly have on here. Teyana Parrish, you've got Brie Larson and Iman Vellani, this triplet of actresses here when it comes to the upcoming MCU film The Marvels. I think is really about to go ahead and take people by storm here. I'm really fascinated to kind of see what Brie Larson and the rest of these characters wind up doing to go ahead and push their story forward, and really the chemistry between these ladies. And while I think a lot of us are certainly looking to see what that chemistry is like, behind the scenes, things are going perfectly, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to these actresses. Let's go ahead and dive into this, Stuart, because Brie Larson has some very big and fine words to say about one of her co-stars, and that is, in fact, Iman Vellani. I think this is like back-to-back weeks, Stuart, that we have talked about the Marvels, and Iman Vellani is getting a ton of praise. If it's not from Kevin Feige himself, it is, in fact, from Brie Larson, as this article comes to us from Entertainment Weekly, saying Brie Larson says the Marvels co-star Iman Vellani is the future. And it looks like Entertainment Weekly might have even done like a interview with all these four ladies. So definitely worth checking out for sure. It says when EW recently caught up with Larson about her Super Bowl commercial and more, she had nothing but praise for Vellani. She says, Iman is the future. She is the perfect Miss Marvel and the most incredible person and castmate. I'm so excited for her success, and I'm so excited to see what she'll do with her life because she can do anything she wants. She's one of my favorite people on this earth. Those are some pretty bold words, to say the least. And it says, yeah, Kevin Feige agrees wholeheartedly, telling EW in a recent interview that she essentially steals the show. It does say in both Marvel Comics and in the MCU, Kamala Khan is inspired to become a superhero because of her role model, Captain Marvel. In the pages of Marvel Comics, Kamala and Carol's relationship then blossoms as they work together as members of the Avengers and Defenders of Earth. With the Marvels, Larson and Vellani finally get to bring that relationship to the screen. And Brie says, a huge part of why I wanted to play Captain Marvel was because of Miss Marvel and what that meant. To see that character realized by such a brilliant human with so much potential, it's just a really exciting thing. And she says, I feel like the big joke is always that you're being schooled by people younger than you, is what Brie Larson says. So I'm sure there are ways that I've been able to be of service to her, but also at the same time, she teaches me so much every single day. I'm just grateful for her friendship. So yeah, man, big words here from Brie Larson, very glowing words of Iman Vellani. Stuart, when you hear this from Brie Larson herself, what does it make you think in regards to not just what their relationship is like, but just your excitement level for the movie? Does it do anything more for you in that regards?
Well, the first thing I think is that Tom Holland is probably reading this and going, "Man, no one praised me this much when I became Spider-Man."
Oh yeah, Anthony Mackie and them just ran this man around for years and just running him through in interviews, man.
Oh yeah, but yeah. But with that being said, like knowing that this isn't like seeing how this isn't even the first time she's gotten this much praise because you even brought it up. We've heard so much praise for her from Kevin Feige and of course from the showrunner of Miss Marvel. I'm really excited to see what more she can do. That and like what it is about her acting that really catches like some of the older, more experienced actors off guard. We got to see a good chunk of it like in her TV show. Like I thought she was absolutely amazing in that. But to kind of like see that there's going to be even more to that going into the Marvels definitely excites me. It's good to know that the actors are really getting along because when you're doing a movie like this where the three characters, I feel like the character chemistry is really what's going to hold the movie together. Character chemistry happens a lot better when you get actors that work together really well. So to hear this behind the scenes stuff just gets me even more excited for the movie itself. And yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, man, in the sense that the chemistry I think is really going to be everything for this film in regards to how well it's definitely going to succeed or not. And kind of what you were bringing up in regards to like what the it factor is for her. I wonder if similar like to her and Tom Holland, one, I think them being much younger certainly helps. I think them also being fans of the product before they even became actors definitely helps because you have that level of enthusiasm that's purely there because they're working with all these stars and getting these great opportunities. So you have that youthfulness that allows them to, use that excitement that they have. And also, I just think it also allows them to just be authentically themselves, just like genuine in who they are. They haven't necessarily been like corrupted by the world or like Hollywood as of yet, so they and I also just think it's just them being them, and they probably just have really great heads on their shoulders. I feel like Marvel has done a really great job of picking great solid youths that seem to know how to carry themselves. I feel like we have high praise for Tom Holland just as being a great actor at such a young age. And it continues to he just continues to get better. And I think the same thing can certainly be said for Iman Vellani. Regardless of how some people might have felt about Miss Marvel, it was a series that I really appreciated and enjoyed. And I think she was just a star in that movie. I really enjoyed her rambunctiousness and that youth about her and her eagerness. And I do think that is going to be very infectious, certainly on screen. And to kind of have that sort of high energy meet somebody like like Captain. I feel like Carol's going to almost be the balance to everybody in here. Like that youthful energy of Kamala, but maybe that seriousness that that Monica gets from being, you know, in the government and things like that, and being used to this lifestyle. So I am interested to see how Carol sort of works as the balance between all of them, and I think they're going to have great magic on screen. I do think that this is going to be amazing for all these ladies, honestly, and I think it's also inspiring too to hear from Brie Larson to say that's why I wanted to do Captain Marvel in the first place, right? Like not even knowing if Miss Marvel was going to be sort of in the sequel or in, you know, the future of the MCU plans, but the fact that her reading that character in the comics made her fall in love with Captain Marvel as a whole. I think it's pretty awesome that it comes kind of full circle for Brie Larson at the end of the day also.
Definitely. I also think that one of Brie Larson's strength as an actress is she does a good job when it comes to like chemistry with other characters. Because when it came to the Captain Marvel, I'm kind of like you. It wasn't my favorite MCU movie, but I do think one of his strengths happened to be when it was just her and Nick Fury, or just her and Monica together. Like I feel like she was a great mentor to Monica, and then a great friend to Nick Fury. So I'm really excited to now see now that, Monica is like more of an adult now going into this one, but now you have Kamala as the kid. I'm really excited to kind of like see that, hopefully that similar chemistry kind of going forward into this movie.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think Brie does a really good job of like you said, sort of like acting off of somebody else. You know, maybe not her
Yeah.
necessarily having to carry the film by herself, but having other talent around her to certainly work with. Yeah, I'm all in on this film, and I get more excited the more and more I hear of it. You know, somebody mentioned to me, and this is somebody that, you know, wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Captain Marvel, was not even really the biggest fan of Brie Larson, I don't think, but for some reason is very much under the impression that, you know, the only reason why Captain Marvel, the sequel, isn't called Captain Marvel 2 is because of, you know, that people really aren't pleased with Brie Larson, and they felt like, hey, if we're going to do a second movie, she needs the help, in a sense, you know, like to just throw these characters in here to bolster it so people will come out to see the movie. What do you think about that line of thinking though?
I don't think that was the main reason why. I think that especially because like looking at the numbers, the box office numbers for Captain Marvel, like that, even if like a lot of people are claiming that like they didn't really like it, it was a pretty big success in the theaters. It wasn't like it's one of Marvel's like
Hit a
biggest
billion
like top
dollars.
sellers. Oh, it did hit $1 billion.
Yeah, it hit $1 billion looking at it
Oh,
now.
so there you go. So yeah, no, I don't think that's the reason at all. But I think it's just because they have like several characters now within the MCU that at one point have had the name Captain Marvel. Because Photon, or sorry, I keep forgetting what's her
Well, she
name.
does go. She does go by Photon in the comics as well as Spectrum.
Spectrum, yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, so with Spectrum, she at one point in the comics, along with Photon, also went by the name Captain Marvel. So I think, them kind of realizing we have these characters with the Marvel name in it, why not just make a movie with the Marvels all together? And even before that, I do remember like before like Endgame premiered, them like there were already rumors that Miss Marvel was going to be making her appearance. Everyone thought it was going to be her first appearance in Captain Marvel 2, but there had been rumors about it for like long
That's
before
true.
the movie even came out. So I think this was something that Marvel had been somewhat planning from the get go. I don't think the like kind of negativity towards Captain Marvel had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, for me, having all these characters in here just make perfect sense. Monica with the attachment to Carol, I think we already assumed that she was probably going to be in a Captain Marvel sequel anyway. And having Kamala Khan there and taking advantage of what Disney Plus now provides for you and be able to create a show out of it, I think it makes sense that Kamala Khan is certainly in here, especially considering just how much of a fangirl she is of Captain Marvel. So I can't wait to see how this turns out. But guys, let us know your thoughts. You hear this high praise of Iman Vellani. If you had the opportunity to check out Miss Marvel for yourself, what did you think? Do you think she certainly lives up to the hype that everybody certainly has for her? I'm really looking forward to see how she delivers in this movie. And with that out of the way, guys, we got one more topic for you guys to go ahead and do this. And then, Stuart, I believe you do have to go for our live viewer question segment. But before you go, my Star Wars brother, I gotta pick your brain, man, because the Mandalorian season 3 is literally right around the corner. Is that this weekend? Is that this week, Stuart? Is that next week?
Oh shit, is it? I want to look it up on my phone,
Oh,
but
you
I
know what?
can't.
Actually, here we go. We got Mandalorian
Oh,
posters. That's right. I forgot. We got brand new Mandalorian posters that wind up dropping this week for you guys. We get Din Djarin, aka Mando himself, here with Grogu, March 1st. So yes, this week it comes back. You've got Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan here. And of course, you've got God damn it, I'm blanking on his name, Stuart. Hit me.
Carl Weathers.
Yes. As was it Grief?
Oh, I totally forgot.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered his name though. But yeah, Mando season 3 is certainly here, and good old Jon Favreau is back in the news, Stuart. As we get hyped for this season, man, I got to push forward with my Mandalorian binge real quick. I didn't even realize it was going to creep up on me that quickly, man. I may not be able to make it. No, I'll make it work. But let's go ahead and dive into this because Jon Favreau's talking a little bit about the Mandalorian, and I'm talking 4th season. I'm talking never ending. This show just may go on forever, Stuart. This comes to us from the Variety.com. It says the Mandalorian has no ending planned, says Jon Favreau. It's not like there's a finale that we're building to. Then what are you working on, Favreau? Tell me, please. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Why Variety has this setup for this background is beyond me. It says HBO just announced that its Emmy-winning Succession will end with its upcoming 4th season. The team behind Yellow Jackets has been open to having a 5th season planned. Does the Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau have similar endgame in mind for his beloved Star Wars series? Not the slightest. He says, I think the beauty of this is that it's the middle chapter of a much larger story. And though we'll have resolution over time with these characters, it's not like there's a finale that we're building to that I have in mind. Quite the contrary, Jon Favreau says. I love for these series to go on. And so these characters potentially could be with us for a while. I really love telling stories in their voice, and I love the way the adventures unfold. And I'm looking forward to doing much more. Favreau has already confirmed that a 4th season of The Mandalorian is written. He says the show is designed to effortlessly fit into the larger scope of Star Wars storytelling that is on the way with new Disney Plus series such as Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. I'm honestly expecting these all to kind of connect. He says season 4, yeah, I've written it already. We have to know where we're going to tell a fully formed story. We had it mapped out, Dave and I, and slowly you start to write each episode. I was writing it during post-production. All of it has to feel like a continuation and one full story. It says, while Favreau is unsure about the ending of The Mandalorian, he is certain that its weekly release schedule is never going to change. He says the goal is that we have enough things happen each episode that everybody wants to jump around the digital kitchen table and talk about it and argue about it and guess to what is going to happen next. I like that we're on Disney Plus, where it's each week is another episode. It's not all dropped at once, so it allows for a back and forth. And I love to see if we guessed right. I love to see which ones the people react to better and ultimately get the report card if we're doing our job well. You know, Stuart, I think that's a really great way for him to also kind of put that ending in the sense that I don't know if we take that into account, the fact that dropping a show weekly, while I think we all love a good Netflix binge, don't get me wrong, some shows I think definitely do benefit from weekly releases because you're right. It's like that sit around the table talk, or if you're at the water cooler at work, right, talking about the latest episodes. It keeps that momentum going for weeks on end, but it's also a barometer and a report for the showrunners to be like, what can we do differently for next season in that sense? And I think by doing it weekly, I think that it allows them to really get into the details of what the fans are happy with and what they're not. But so how do you feel about how he uses the weekly schedule for himself, but also just his idea of hey, listen, there's really no ending that we have planned out, but clearly there is some level of planning, right, Stuart, when it comes to this?
Yeah. I think like you kind of mentioned, we all love doing the Netflix binge here and there, but just because I really love a show that's serialized and we can watch it as like one continuous long movie, I don't necessarily think it's superior. I don't think it's worse, but I also don't think it's superior to episodic television. I think that every style of television is great in their own way, and for a while there was that big worry that was streaming that it was going to completely replace like episodic television altogether. Like those type of shows wouldn't happen anymore. And I think Mandalorian is just one of those great exceptions because even though there is sometimes an overarching story for the seasons, for the most part, it's the standalone adventures that we get with this really cool guy in this really cool universe, and you never know what to expect week after week. I think the fact that they're doing it the way they used to do with television back in the day, of just kind of waiting, doing one episode at a time, seeing what people think, and then using that to adjust maybe some plans that they might do for the next season. I think that's a brilliant way to go about it. Even with them not having an ending in mind, I don't think that's a bad idea at all either. I think that, again, for this type of show, that definitely works. The idea of just kind of writing as you're going, it works when you're writing episodic television like this. Yeah, I got nothing but excitement going forward with the Mandalorian, for sure. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, and I also, damn it, I was trying to get through this episode without accidentally having my mute on. Um,
You almost did it.
and and I also think too, while look, I think if there's anything in Star Wars right now that is as planned as it possibly can be, it's definitely the Mandalorian. I definitely do think that they have an idea as to how long that they want this show to go on for. But I think when he says there's really no ending in sight, I think it's a sense of like I'm kind of curious as to what he has in mind for closure for his show, right? Because look, Mandalorian's not going to go for 10 seasons. It's not going to go for 13 seasons, right? There is going to be an endpoint. But I also think he probably just means the story of these characters, that this is not going to be the end, right? Just because maybe Mando goes for 5 seasons, there could be more Mando down the road. You know what I'm saying? Like never really fully ending his character. I mean, damn, there's characters from Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars animated series that's still popping up in the live action this day because their stories technically are not finished, right? Or haven't come to a conclusion yet. So while I do think at some point in time the Mandalorian show will come to an end, how Jon Favreau decides to end that off is anybody's guess, right? Maybe it could just end in just a random Western where he completes his mission and he walks off into the sunset, right? And we have no idea where Mando goes from here, but his story certainly does continue in the larger scheme of the Star Wars universe. So I do think that that's kind of what he's leaning into also, because there's just so many moving parts to what's going on in Star Wars right now with all the connective pieces and the upcoming series and stuff. There's got to be some level of planning. There's got to be some level of end in sight or like a big crescendo to it all. So I do think outside of that, he's probably being a little bit more cryptic in the sense of their stories will continue besides what I do with these characters. But is that kind of what you think too, or do you want to explain a little bit more on that?
That wasn't the vibe I got from like the interview, but I could also
Right,
see
and
that
right, I
being a
get you.
thing as well. Like I definitely see where you're coming from,
Right.
and yeah, I do agree that that's something that we'll probably see going forward. Because yeah, you're totally right, man. We get characters from Star Wars, the Clone Wars, still appearing, in live action. Like recently with the Book of Boba, getting to see Cad Bane make his first live action debut, from that show. Yeah, I think that without a doubt, if they keep the Star Wars franchise going forward, like if Mandalorian were to kind of end, let's say like seasons 4 and 5, but then sometime down the line we get a movie that takes place after Star Wars Episode 9. I could see us seeing a version of the Mandalorian still played by Pedro Pascal, but probably in old man makeup. Probably a younger, or sorry, an older Grogu that might be like, in his young teenage years, something like that. I do see these characters continuing on going forward.
I am kind of curious how old Grogu is. I mean, when we met him, he was like 50, right? So, and he's like little baby form. So I wonder how that ages for his species, honestly. Like I'm curious, like if at any point in time in the Mandalorian, if we'll get like adolescence Grogu, kind of like how we've gotten Groot, sort of like from time to time in these in Guardians of the Galaxy. So I do wonder if it's if we'll ever see a different version of Grogu. Although, look, um, just from the trailers alone, Grogu is definitely growing and certainly becoming a little bit more powerful. So we'll see how season 3 turns out. But yes, guys, season 3, March 1st. March 1st, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready for more Mandalorian. If you guys are interested, we will be doing Mandalorian reviews for you guys here. So if anything, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button, guys, if you want to see me get into my Star Wars bag and review Mandalorian season 3 for you guys. But that will certainly do it for us here in regards to the main topics for the day. I believe Stuart might be headed on out. He froze sort of last minute, but since he did have to go, he wasn't going to be able to join us for live viewer questions. It'll just be me tackling live viewer questions for you guys today. So I think you guys know what time it is. It's time for live viewer questions. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us here. Hey, I think maybe Stuart, are you back? Say a quick farewell.
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened. Just my internet suddenly, even though I'm connected to the landline or to my cellular data, it just kind of like shut down there. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
But yeah, final thoughts on the Mandalorian. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we saw these characters, sometime in the future, even after the Mandalorian comes to its conclusion, whenever that may be.
Yeah, I definitely hope so, man. I definitely hope so. There's such a big time period too for them to focus on. They still got that like 30-year gap from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. So there's just a lot of sandbox for them to play in as of right now. So let's just keep going, please, if they certainly want to.
Sure.
Stuart, I do know that you got to go for live viewer questions. If people want to find you on social media, though, sir, where can they find you?
You guys can follow me at TurboStew01 over on Twitter and Instagram. I actually can't tell if it's like appearing here or not because sometimes
I don't know. Mine's isn't popping up for some reason. Maybe they're glitching or something. I don't know why. Like even when I hit display names, mine's isn't coming up either. So
interesting. But easy to spell, TurboStew01 at Twitter and on Instagram. And you can also, of course, always follow us here on A Plus Opinions as well.
Thank you very much, Stuart. It's good seeing you, buddy. You have a good rest of your weekend, bro.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. You have an awesome day.
You too, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Right, bye. All right, guys. And as Stuart departs, let's go ahead and dive into our live viewer questions. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, guys, we post this over on our community tab every Wednesday, or at least after Wednesday. There should be a live viewer questions post for you guys. Simply just go over to our main YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and pull it up here for you guys. Just go over to our main YouTube channel right here. Click on the community tab. And again, every Wednesday or after Wednesday, there will be a live viewer question post, as you can see here. Submit your question down below, and we'll try our best to get to it live on air at the end of our shows. And if not, if anything, we usually do like to record an additional video during the week to get to the questions that we were not able to tackle earlier. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's start off with good old Jessica Friedman. Do you think we will see super versions of Batwoman and the Flash on maybe there's a typo there. Do you think we will see super versions of Batwoman and the Flash on Superman and Lois one day? And would you like to see Cosmic Fury Rangers visit KO 35 or the Lost Galaxy planet during their trip in space? Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Why not? If we're going down memory lane and bringing back some characters that we had from the past, that would be pretty interesting. Maybe some great cameos like, hey, we gotta hop off real quick at KO 35 and pass along a message or something real quick. I have no idea, but it'd be cool. Look, as long as it fits into the story, as long, I'm not just trying to put things into Cosmic Fury just to be fan servicey and be like, "Ooh, look, that's there. Ooh, look, that's there." Even if it's just like a planetary list that pops up in the background of the command center and it's on there. I think that'd be a cool little Easter egg, but not everything necessarily needs to be a focus. You know what I mean? So I just don't want the Cosmic Fury to be too convoluted, but if it makes sense to the story, absolutely, or a really cool little Easter egg name drop or something like that. As far as Superman and Lois, I don't think we're going to get any versions of a Batwoman or Flash on Superman and Lois going forward, especially with the way that things are happening over at DC right now. I just don't see it happening, especially with the Arrowverse coming to a conclusion and stuff, and some content already being moved over to HBO Max, or to from HBO Max over to Netflix, right? So I just think I just don't think they're going to do more than what they're already doing when it comes to Superman and Lois. Marcelino Vasquez, do you think that the MCU will one day create their own version of the Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, Lizard, Sandman, and or Venom, rather than just borrowing characters that are already established in separate universes? Or will Marvel try to stay away from those characters and instead try something new by using villains that haven't been used yet? Mm, I think. Let's see here. Do you think MCU will one day create their own versions of Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro? I think yes, but well, hold on a second. Rather than just borrowing characters that are already established in separate universes. Well, they've already tried to do that. I mean, outside of No Way Home, we've already seen them pull the trigger on Mysterio. I guess you can say Hydro Man and Molten Man a little bit if you consider that from Far From Home also. Those two creatures, I don't know if you want to consider them that or not. Who do we have in the first one? Vulture, right? So I kind of appreciate them going into their bag. And making characters that we haven't necessarily seen on film yet. And that's kind of the route that I want to see them go. Simply because, look, we've already had two Green Goblins. Thankfully, they've kept Doc Ock to just one, but he's just so memorable. Where do you go from there, right? Electro, maybe you can get away with an Electro. I don't know. It's Jamie Foxx. I don't know if, but they brought him back, right? So they've kind of already done those things. So do I want to see them do their own versions? Unless we're bringing Miles Morales to the MCU at some point in time, then maybe give me updated versions of his villains. You know what I mean? Or if they are some repeats, then like Green Goblin, like in Ultimate, was like an actual freaking goblin, wasn't he? Like wasn't like Harry literally turned, or Norman literally turned into like a freaking gargoyle looking Green Goblin type of thing. If they want to make changes like that for Miles Morales, then I'm completely on board with it. But until then, if we're dealing with Peter Parker, I rather them do other characters that haven't made it to the big screen yet, because he just has such a vast array of rogues gallery. There's just still so many good villains left that have not even happened yet. And so I would like to see them create those characters, or not create those characters, but bring in new villains that haven't been used yet. But that's just me. Dino Knights fight for your rights. I love the first look photos of the 4 Cosmic Fury Rangers in the command center with their brand new weapons. They're freaking huge, especially Ions. That blaster he got there is massive. That's what the girls say too. Also, what do you think of the speculation of the possibility of an official Orange Ranger for Cosmic Fury? Some people think it could be Fern, as well as another possibility of Tarek becoming an upgraded Void Knight. I don't think those are exclusive to one another. I think both of those can happen. Both of these have been speculated from behind the scenes photos and a cast of a bunch of different aliens and ranger drawings in the background. Yeah, I remember seeing the photos of the cast or the characters in the background. One definitely looks very Void Knightish to me. Like that purple or silver kind of combo. So I don't think it's out of the question that we could get a Tarek as a Void Knight or upgraded Void Knight and a Fern as an Orange Ranger. So I'm expecting both of those to happen, and I'm fully pumped for it. And I also the idea of having sort of a full-time series Orange Ranger. I think would be really great. And is also one of those things too where, well, it says full-time series. I mean, I think it said she was going to pop up in like third episode or something like that of the season, or maybe a later episode. I can't remember what the article stated, but if anything, I am just fascinated by sort of the history of the Orange Ranger throughout Power Rangers. So yeah, I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it to be official. Leave it up to Simon Bennett and them to give us things that we've been asking for forever: an Orange Ranger and a Dark Ranger or Talon Ranger, however they're gonna call them in there. So the possibility of having 7 Rangers plus the chance of Tarek suiting up again makes me wonder. All this sounds like a lot packed into just 10 episodes. Besides, there are Netflix produced shows that are also 10 episodes but have run times that go for 30 to 60 minutes. Some of those were critically acclaimed. So I do see the possibility of Cosmic Fury being longer than the usual 20 minutes. How awesome is that we could potentially get Heckle to return to Cosmic Fury as a Dark Ranger? I'm excited. I most definitely think we could see him in the Dark Ranger suit in all new footage. Yeah, I'm expecting, oh man, all new footage. That would be even more incredible, honestly. Since his footage in Super Sentai was very brief, it really sounds like Hasbro's really doing a lot to make this 30th anniversary special as special as possible. I do also think that these 10 episodes may not actually be 22 minutes. This sounds like a lot of stuff packed in. I know Simon said initially that it's only 22 minutes, but he could just be teasing us. Things do change. What do you think of all the speculation? Well, I am in agreement that I do think Fern is the Orange Ranger, Heckle coming back as the Dark Ranger. I do think that those will definitely happen. Um, as far as the 10 episodes, I was thinking the same thing, AJ, in the sense of like, I know Simon Bennett made reference to the idea, like just same as usual, I think is how he referred to it as, which to me kind of teases at the 22-minute run. But, listen, it wouldn't surprise me if some of them came in at like 25 minutes or 27 minutes. You know what I mean? To kind of stick to the 22-minute formula, I think would be a disservice. But it's the formula that we've had for such a long time. But you're on Netflix now, right? So while even if it may not necessarily be, say, like a full 30-minute episode, I wouldn't mind the idea of stretching it to 25, 27 here or there with the occasional 22-minute episode. But you're right, and the idea of them starting to feel like they are putting more in here does make me worry, in the sense of, is it too much for 10 episodes? Or, should I really fully trust Simon Bennett in them to execute this level of storytelling with such a big cast in 10 minutes the right way, right? Like, that's the trust that we kind of have to put into this particular team. And I think they've done a great job so far with what we have. But, this is definitely a new format for us. So we'll see how it turns out. But your concerns is something I kind of share also a little bit. Ram Jam. But I also think if anybody can pull it off, it's Simon Bennett. You know what I mean? Ram Jam. What do you think of David Yost behind the scenes footage of his morphing sequence? Goosebumps, bro. Goosebumps. So cool. I watched it over on his IG page. Even he's just like Triceratops. I mean, look, just the fact that they're filming a morphing sequence for him, I think is just brilliant. Billy, like David Yost, just channels a grown-up Billy so incredibly well. There's just something about the facial features that these actors have in their morphing sequence. Like just even seeing Billy in some of these photos and some of the behind the scenes images and videos that we've seen, they've got that older experience scowl that they put on their face, like it's time for business, like they mean business. And there's a level of seriousness that comes with like just years of experience that I think that they carry with them as actors for these Rangers. And when I see him getting ready, just that look that he gives into the camera before he morphs, it's like, yo, Billy's about to kick some ass. And like for me, I am so excited that we're getting as close to the OGs back as we possibly can. And that's why it's just so much more meaningful for me to see Zach and Billy at this stage in their lives. Like just the seriousness in which they take their roles, right? Like there's got to be some level of leadership there. And I definitely do think when I look at Billy in that sense, man, he's just got leader just written all over him and just the images and videos that I've seen. And the same thing can be said here for his morphing sequence. So yeah, I'm really fascinated to see the growth of these characters. I truly cannot wait. Like as hyped as I am for Cosmic Fury, I'm telling you guys, this is where I'm putting my money. Like I cannot wait for MMPR. I literally remember myself watching the season premiere, literally asking my parents for permission to watch television in their bedroom because they had the biggest TV. And I just wanted to be on the edge of that bed watching this show for the very first time. And it knocked my socks off, man. So to be able to kind of come full circle to see these characters 30 years later, for me, goddamn, I'm old. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's so fulfilling and so rewarding as a fan to see them back. And I'm so thankful that David Yost and everybody is certainly returning. So thank you, Hasbro, for that. I had to gush, but Ram Jam asked me a question. I just thought the footage of his morphing sequence literally gave me goosebumps. Triceratops, dude. Let's go. Let's go. I'm pumped. Let's see here. Also, what are your thoughts on the Dark Ranger finally appearing at Cosmic Fury? It's about time, Ram Jam. Thank you, Hasbro, for continuing to go out of your way to make the 30th anniversary special. We are getting spoiled. I hope that it just comes together very well for everybody. What's up, G on Tube? Good to see you in here. Marcelino says, I personally am hoping Simon Bennett is pulling the PR stunt and the episodes will actually be a little longer than the standard TV limit. Yeah, I would hope so too. I would hope that they would certainly use their time wisely. So yeah, just give us a little bit of an extension would be great. Let's see here. What else we got? Terminator Dark Fate from Carter Matthews. He says, do you agree or disagree that the reason Terminator Dark Fate film was a box office bomb because of John Connor being killed off right at the beginning, creating an alternate timeline? Instead of solely focusing on Sarah Connor, we were introduced to 3 new characters who were pretty much their new replacements. Arnold himself became more like a real human than who he was in the first 2 original installments. Though I did really love both Arnold and Linda Hamilton were recreated to look like their old selves from the first 2 films via CGI and doubles. James Cameron himself did not direct the film, but he helped with the story and was pleased with the movie at least. So do you think the movie should have just focused only on Arnold and Linda again and not have the other new characters fight against another new Terminator played by Gabriel Luna? But at the same time, just like any other film, critics complain when the film isn't faithful to what came before or if the story itself is new and original. Sarah was basically the same character as she always was, while Arnold was now living like a human. Both of them obviously agreed the movie couldn't at least kept him de-aged. So he would be believable as his younger self. Well, wait, I'm a little confused because Dark Fate, Arnold and Linda Hamilton came back, but there was no CGI to look like themselves. Linda Hamilton is just an old woman now. So, that Linda Hamilton that we wind up getting in Dark Fate is really her. I'm trying to remember if there fake selves of her. If there were, I honestly do not remember. Maybe I didn't enjoy Dark Fate as much as I certainly thought I did. I didn't mind the movie. I enjoyed it for certainly what it was, but you're right. James Cameron certainly supported the film. I believe he was a producer on it also. I do remember seeing him even doing press rounds for the movie itself. He was pretty happy with it. And I honestly thought it was going to be like the correction to the Terminator franchise that we kind of needed. And unfortunately, it just kind of fell flat. I do think that there's a good movie in there somewhere, maybe just not the movie we kind of expected. So I don't remember too much of it, but I do remember Gabriel Luna as the Terminator. Who was the female protector for the woman that was like the new Sarah Connor, if you will, the one that needed to be protected. Something McKinsey. I can't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but I thought she was pretty good in that movie also, really showcasing that, look, if you need a new female heroine, she can kick anybody's ass, if you ask me. So there were aspects of Dark Fate I appreciated, but I think outside of the two Terminator films, outside of Terminator 1 and 2, my third favorite on that list is probably Salvation with Christian Bale and Sam Worthington. That's probably my third favorite, and then probably Dark Fate would probably be my fourth. I barely remember Rise of the Machines, which was Terminator 3, and I just completely skipped Genesis. So yeah. Just bring me back Sarah Connor Chronicles, and that's all Terminator needs to get back on track. Blossom, I'm still choked. I'm still choked. I'm sorry. Ooh, I hiccuped. I'm still stoked for Cosmic Fury. Been hearing that they should have used the Q Ranger suits. Thank God they didn't. They could have borrowed some elements from them, though. What do you think? Yeah, some elements, yeah. But we'll see what the show has in store for us. Similar to what Stuart said earlier, and I kind of echoed his sentiments before, there are kind of like there's a lot of empty space. While I appreciate the gauntlets and the armor and stuff, I even appreciate like little sliver on the hip. I even appreciated more on the female suit with the skirt, because then it has the silver accent going down the thigh also. I think the female suit is a much better look out of all the suits. But I do think that there could have been something in that voided space to definitely help. Who's to say that there's nothing that's added in After Effects or CGI or special effects after the show begins, right? Maybe they, when the show actually starts, maybe they do a power up attack or something, like a final slash or something, and there's like a glowing emblem where the free space on their suit is at. You know what I mean, right? So could it possibly be filled with something else in the future? Maybe, but if anything, I would not have minded them borrowing some elements. So I would definitely be in agreement with you, Blossom. Remember the Ishinomori reference Dino Fury made? There's also a Ishinomori in the Imaginatrix, but it's associated with the Giga Tokusatsu Rangers and Akiba Rangers as comics and video games. How's that? Yeah, you did mention the Akiba Ranger and video game aspect, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. I think that's a great way to use them, Blossom. Kurt Moreno, we already asked your question. You know what? Before I get into yours, Gabriel, let me get Michael's out of the way real quick. Michael did email me. I'm glad that I just remembered off the top of my head. For some reason, he's been having trouble trying to post in the comment section. So he did send his information over to me here. Hold on one second. Damn it, Adam, what did I do? For some reason, I'm not able to submit my question in the community tab section on YouTube. So this is from Michael. Here's my question. Am I the only one who thinks that Kevin's entire family in the first two original Home Alone films were huge assholes towards Kevin? Always blaming him for things that that clearly his 50 plus siblings always cause. They're all bullies towards him, even his own parents. I'm glad that the direct sequel, which was a soft reboot by having new actors play the same characters to the first two films, which is Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, while not everyone's favorite, it's still pretty enjoyable. I don't think I've ever seen a Home Alone movie after the second one. I might have tried to watch Home Alone 3, but I don't recall ever finishing it. I really like that Kevin's 50 plus siblings were ignored and only Buzz and his sister Megan were kept. They were actually nice to Kevin for the final hour of the film. Look, they were some assholes. The uncle, I believe it was, that was showering and singing. He was a big ass jerk. Yeah, everybody was a jerk to Kevin, like especially in the first one. I just felt so bad for this kid. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kevin was an asshole himself. I mean, this is a whole family of assholes to a certain extent. But people were just rude to this kid. Like how do you forget a kid, bro? Like I don't want to. Let me not talk because I have a child of my own. Heaven forbid if I ever lost my kid. I don't even want to know what that is like. But yeah, it's like going on a big trip like that with so many moving pieces, man. You got to have double triple check everything. But I always thought they did a good job of like making it believable enough that this kid might be forgotten, you know what I mean? So I did think that they did a good job about that. But yeah, the joy that Kevin experiences when he's like, I made my family disappear, like the joy that he experiences to having the home all to himself goes to show you how much his family is a bunch of assholes. Like this kid is happy to be rid of them. So yeah, that's a great question, Michael. Thank you for that one. I do love me some Home Alone. It's something I watch every Christmas for sure. Let's see here. Gabriel. Could Fantastic Four work better as a TV series? So since the announcement that Marvel obtained the rights to the Fantastic Four and a new movie for the MCU is in the works, many have speculated about how the Fantastic Four could join the MCU. But when you look at the Fantastic Four, they haven't exactly had a great run with their films. Now, I don't doubt Kevin Feige could make an awesome Fantastic Four movie, but you can't deny that there isn't a certain amount of risk bringing the Fantastic Four into the MCU. You don't know how the audience will react. Will the audience even care at this point after 3 failed attempts? Is there enough hunger for an MCU reboot to make it worthwhile? With that in mind, I'd like to present an alternative idea. A Fantastic Four series on Disney Plus. This series could still be set in the MCU and could have crossovers on the big screen, unlike the Netflix shows that we had hoped in the past. A crossover would be more likely as Kevin Feige is now in charge of anything. A TV series allows us to spend more time with the characters, getting to know them over 10 to 13 episodes versus a 2-hour film every couple of years. 3 failed attempts on film. Maybe it's time to try something new. So we'll see down the road how this new reboot actually does once it's here. I kind of dig the alternative idea, Gabriel. Listen, I'm always going to give Kevin Feige the benefit of the doubt to give me a great movie. Regardless of how some people have felt about Phase 4, I do think that there's some good content in there and enjoyable content. Is it as great as some of the content we might have had from the past 3 phases? Some people will certainly say no. Some projects, perhaps, right? But if anything, I still have faith in Marvel Studios and what they're putting together. And because of the fact that the Fantastic Four and other previous iterations have not necessarily worked itself out so much, this is definitely a risk. Where is it losing its magic? Has the people that have just been behind the cameras just not been able to capture right into somebody with the experience of Kevin Feige and his connection to comic books? Does he have sort of that miracle recipe to finally make this work? I think that he certainly does. But we're gonna have to see. I will say this: if the movie bombs or if the movie fails, if we ever see Fantastic Four again in another iteration, I would not be surprised if a television route is certainly the way to go. I do think Fantastic Four opens itself up because of the fact that you've got four members, that maybe it could be beneficial to the idea of a television series in regards to how you plot out a long-term storyline, allow everybody to really have their own story arcs and have meaningful attention to them. I do think of Fantastic Four, especially if it's like a space odyssey or a space opera sort of sci-fi series, I think you can really kind of make that work. So I don't think it's out of the question, Gabriel. I do think a Fantastic Four series could certainly work, but that's not to say that a Fantastic Four film can't work. I do think there is a great Fantastic Four film out there. And just to give props where props due, I actually did not mind the first Fantastic Four movie. I thought for the time period that it was in, I believe the writer was Tim Story, or was he the director? The first Fantastic Four movie that we wind up getting with Chris Evans as the Human Torch, that's actually a Fantastic Four movie that I feel like when it's on, if it's on TV, I might actually keep on and watch the rest of the time. It was a fun and enjoyable film, still is to me at times. And I think for the time period it was in, I didn't think it did too bad. Again, not a great film, but enjoyable to say the least. Now, Rise of the Silver Surfer and this Fantastic Four stick, as Stuart likes to call it. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, Stuart. With Michael B. Jordan and the other was it Miles Teller and things like that. So I'd say two strikes. Whether or not a third happens here with the MCU one, I think we can get a film and a TV series that would be great. But if Kevin Feige can't make it work for an MCU film, then maybe somebody else at some point in time might take a crack at a TV series. I think it might work. I think it could work. Stuart, what's up, Stuart? What you got for me today? Dr. K is her name. Or Dr. K if you're nasty. Looking back at the episode of RPM, what really made it memorable was the juxtaposition of it all. Was when we finally saw the backstory of Dr. K. Yes, the first scene was goofy, especially when Jem and Gemma got involved, but their goofiness tried to mask the dark nature of what was going on. This little girl was kidnapped by this unknown agency and exploited to use her uber intelligence to make God knows what. They lied to her and used her. But when she finally saw through their deception, she didn't want to expose them or ruin them. She just wanted to be a normal human being and go outside. And when they stopped her attempts to do so, she accidentally doomed the planet, something that she carries throughout the series. It also showed one of the underlining themes of the series. There is no such thing as perfection. Absolutely not. No matter how strong you are, no matter how smart you are, you can always make mistakes. It's what Vengeance Defeats symbolizes, and as he saw himself as perfection. This scene also showed that you will always desire what you do not have. Further showcased when she asked Ziggy if being stupid was as wonderful as it seems, since being as smart has been nothing but suffering for her. So while she was partly insulting him, she was also partly sincere. If she wasn't this uber mensch, would she had suffered like she has now. It's why RPM is one of my and many other favorite series. Every character has a purpose, even the minor ones, and it's one of the best stories in Power Rangers, up there with Time Force and In Space. So what do you think of Dr. K's backstory? And did it give you the same feels with Nate and Beast Morphers when he finally was raised, when he himself was raised at Grid Battle Force? Was it a semi copy of Dr. K? I'm glad you broke that down, man. Because I think again, it definitely did a great job of highlighting Dr. K's storyline throughout RPM. And yes, definitely one of the reasons why it was such an incredible show. Yeah, In Space is up there for me as one of my favorite shows, along with Time Force, and so is RPM. So you definitely hit the nail on the head, and I feel like I'm definitely not. There's definitely a bigger crowd that absolutely love RPM and definitely hold it up there as one of their favorite shows as well. As far as do I find it as a semi copy of Dr. K? No, but I do think it's certainly maybe inspired. And I think that's probably what makes the Dr. K and Nate interaction so great in Beast Morphers. Just the idea of these two characters who share this sort of the same brilliance, getting that opportunity to be on screen with each other, not just once, but I believe twice, if I'm not mistaken, in Beast Morphers. I probably have to go back and check it out. But yeah, Dr. K has also always been an incredible character. So I'm glad you brought that up. Carlo, what's up, Carlo? Might just be me, but I feel that the behind the scenes trailer for Once and Always emphasized the Green Ranger since he was shown throughout, just not with the team when they're in the new command center or when the main four weren't in their Ranger suits. So there's a reason why Hasbro allowed the footage of the Green Ranger to be kept in. They could have edited him out since the video was released after JDF's passing. So maybe the footage with the Green Ranger was filmed after JDF's passing. I recall Simon Bennett stating on Twitter there was a short rewrite after they heard of JDF's tragic news. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Really? I hadn't heard Simon Bennett mention that. Not to say he didn't say it, but I don't catch everything Simon Bennett says. So maybe I'll have to reach out to some people or try and find that statement. If they had to do a short rewrite, that would be pretty interesting to hear that, especially during the time period. Look, there is a reason why they put the Green Ranger in there. Especially after JDF's passing. I do wonder if it's a case of maybe they thought maybe this is too soon, right? Maybe we shouldn't put it in there. Maybe it might trigger some people, or maybe it's just not a good look right now. But they still kept the footage in there from the behind the scenes, so it does. And I think that's why people are talking about it, right? Because you could have just not shown him, and you wouldn't have had people speculate or ask questions. But I think you put it in there for a reason, right? Maybe because you want people to speculate and to ponder as to why the Green Ranger is being shown in there. Look, it could be something as simple as, yeah, maybe they did do a rewrite after JDF's tragic passing, and they decided, look, let's get a modern shot of the Green Ranger in there to show that, hey, just because we've got these characters that we can't forget about JDF, you know what I mean? Or the impact that the Green Ranger had for this particular series. So maybe that's what the rewrite is. Maybe that's what the footage is that we certainly see. It's something that's kind of quickly put together as a brief tribute, like, hey, you're certainly, you're a part of this team, sort of thing. So maybe that could be it. Maybe JDF is in this in some small minor capacity that they never told us about because they wanted some surprises to be kept. I mean, damn, if Amy Jo Johnson doesn't stop teasing about the idea that there's more surprises yet to come, what does that even mean? Who knows? So I'm keeping my expectations low, but I do think that there's a reason that he's in there, whether it's just a brief tribute for what he did or there's a much bigger picture behind it. Who certainly knows, Carlo, but there's definitely a reason for sure. Nicole Robertson, what do you think of the rumors of Tom Holland potentially returning to the MCU for either a Spider-Man 4 film or Beyond the Spider-Verse? And would you like to see Miles Morales meet Tom Holland, Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Beyond the Spider-Verse, or even in live action? Thank you very much for the question, Nicole. I appreciate it. So yes, there are rumors currently going around right now for the potential return of Tom Holland. Now, you say the returning to the MCU for either Spider-Man 4 or Beyond the Spider-Verse. The Spider-Man 4 is definitely happening. If anything, Kevin Feige recently said that they are writing the script. It's almost completed. So I'm sure Tom Holland's getting ready to get back into his web slinging costume at some point in time. So Spider-Man 4 is definitely happening. In regards to Across the Spider-Verse, the rumor here, and I'll go ahead and break it down for everybody. This comes to us from comicbook.com. The title says Spider-Man star Tom Holland rumored to appear in Across the Spider-Verse. It says, according to Jeff Snyder over at the Hot Mic, and Jeff Snyder has broken previous stories before, right? So you can take this with a grain of salt if you want to or not, because it has not been confirmed. But according to Jeff Snyder at the Hot Mic, he says Holland will be voicing Spidey in the new animated feature. He said, I heard that part of the delay, because Across the Spider-Verse was about getting Tom Holland in that movie, and that one of the dimensions that Miles could end up going to is a live action dimension with Tom Holland. While it's not a guarantee that Holland will be lending his voice to the highly anticipated sequel, Snyder has been right about some rumors in the past. So, and Tom Holland has previously stated how much he really wants Miles Morales to be a thing. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in both, to be honest with you, Nicole. Look, if you guys have been watching me long enough and you've heard me talk about Into the Spider-Verse, my enjoyment of Miles Morales in that film, anytime that we've talked about the future of Miles Morales and Across the Spider-Verse, if you've been watching me, what have I been saying? I would love for them to utilize one of these universes to be a live action universe. Whether or not you get Tom Holland to just reprise his role as Spidey in animated form, I'm cool with that. But I personally would love to see Miles be transported into a live action universe and get the opportunity to maybe meet that voice behind the animated scene and see Tom Holland as Peter Parker in maybe the third installment of Beyond the Spider-Verse. When you say Beyond the Spider-Verse, I'm thinking outside of animation. If there's a way of bringing Miles Morales into the live action realm and maybe eventually taking advantage of films, whether that's be by MCU or Marvel Studios or Sony, I think it's a really great possibility and opportunity. So I do think that there is potential to this rumor out there. Again, Tom Holland has always talked about wanting to be a part of Into the Spider-Verse. If that means him helping make Miles Morales a popular enough thing to warrant live action. Look, I think Miles Morales is already popular enough after the success of his first animated film to bring into live action, but it's something that I've always been asking for and saying, and I think that that's how they should pull it off. And if this rumor is true, this kind of just reiterates what I'm kind of hoping that they wind up doing. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed here that this comes to fruition. What's up, Nathan? Good to certainly see you in here, my brother. So we'll see how it turns out, Nicole. But I do think it's a possibility that both of those things could happen. Adam Perea, he says, what do you think of the speculation that Heckle from Dino of Charge may return for Cosmic Fury? And do you think if he does return, perhaps his story arc will have a small similarity to the Boom Studios comics? We know from the season finale, End of Extinction, that Keeper made Heckle a new keeper and guard the Dark Energem. Or perhaps in Cosmic Fury, we'll learn that after a few years of protecting the Energem, it got too powerful to be kept sealed away and broke free from its box. And or Heckle had to use it when it got an alert with someone was coming for him. Or heck, maybe Lord Zed finds his home planet of Sentai 6 and tries to convince him to join his side. That might be interesting too, right? I'm kind of under the impression that maybe he's going to be an ally and working alongside the Rangers, but maybe we get introduced to him as a villain. It would be so amazing to see the Dark Ranger finally introduced into the Power Ranger TV series. Yeah, you and me both, Adam. I'm super pumped for him. And I even liked Stewart's concept too of like, if Cosmic Fury is on sort of in the main universe, maybe the Heckle that we saw from Dino Charge that became the new keeper to guard the Energem, maybe this isn't necessarily the same Heckle. Maybe this is a Heckle that actually gave into the Dark Energem in our particular universe, right? So I do think there's some interesting creative choices you can make with it. Not to say one is better than the other or one's a smarter decision. Whatever they decide to certainly do with it, I think is going to be interesting. But the idea of Heckle returning does fascinate me me because I wanted so much more from that character and felt really let down that we didn't get the opportunity to see him explored more. So to be able to utilize him, even if it's just for one episode, again, I don't know how much he's going to be in the series, but just seeing his appearance and Hasbro giving us that costume finally in live action here in Power Rangers is worthwhile enough for me. Let's see here. Jackson Peterson. With Jessica Parker Kennedy, this is for The Flash and Barry and the family. With Jessica Parker Kennedy returning as Nora West Allen for the final season of The Flash, do you think she will be the only child when Iris West does actually become pregnant, or will have Nora and Barry, or Nora and Bart? Plus, I heard in an interview by Eric Wallace, the showrunner, that the finale will be what fans have been waiting for, implying that Iris will indeed become a mother. It would shed to tear. I would shed the tears if the final season of the series is a time jump to the years leading up to 2049, where we see Nora and Barry at home with both Barry and Iris, and then a beautiful montage sequence where we see the twins grow up, and then when we get to 2049, we see Barry and Nora working at CCP together, Nora as CSI and Barry as the director of the CSI division. Do you want to see this too, or something else for the final episode? That would be actually pretty cool, Jackson. I kind of dig that idea of like a montage, a time jump, if you will, to kind of see like, hey, Barry and Iris did get that happy ending sort of after all, you know what I mean? And look, I'm gonna be honest though, like the cynic in me growing up from the Flash in the 90s when my Flash was Wally West, you know, I feel like there's always been something poetic about speedsters. Like almost like speedsters never get the happy ending, you know? That speedsters are always so relied upon to save the universe and like just have such a bigger connection to the overall scheme of things that are happening, you know. And I feel like countless times it happens to multiple speedsters, them having to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the timeline or the universe. And, you know, Barry Allen sacrificed himself in Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comic books, and in turn led the way for a brand new Flash in Wally West. And, you know, for me, that's how I've always kind of thought Barry Allen's ending would be. Him sacrificing himself as a hero to give everybody else sort of that happy ending, to live their life and somebody else kind of take up the mantle for him. I don't think that's going to happen. Clearly, we've had Crisis already, and Grant Gustin is still our Barry. But, you know, there's a part of me, like comic book wise, like there's a part of me that would be like, nah, Barry probably's got to die in this to lead to another Flash, or we see another Flash sort of take up the mantle at some point in time. I mean, maybe you can have both scenarios, right? A new Flash at the end of this season, you know, taking up the mantle, and also giving us that sort of flash forward to seeing Barry and Iris in the future. So look, I think Eric will give us the happy ending that he certainly has mentioned in previous interviews. You know, I don't know what that's going to be, Jackson, but you know, what you put down there seems pretty cool to me, man. I'll definitely take that for sure. What else we got here? Doomsday. Even though Cosmic Fury won't be using the Q Ranger suits, do you feel that it's taken a lot of elements from the Sentai season? Not just the Q Ranger Zords, but with the possibility of extra Zords as well. I don't think they've taken too many elements as of right now. Look, I think the Zords are certainly enough. Man, that could just be all you need. Look, I personally wouldn't have minded the suits, but I appreciate them taking their first dive into creating their own suits. Again, this Simon Bennett and this crew has been giving us firsts for like the past 2-3 years already. So just continue to go along with that, honestly, to get me hyped personally. I'm sure there'll probably be some elements also that might pop up, but I do think that this is very much going to be its own season and really only taking elements of Q Ranger when they absolutely need to for liberties. You know what I mean? Like because of the fact that they had Zords that have so many pieces to it, that might be the only reason maybe why we're getting multiple people in this season. If they had decided to utilize another series, I just think it would be different. So I just think they're just using these elements just based off of just the Zords alone. John Schuyler, this might sound kind of harsh, but since the release of the MMPR 30th anniversary reunion special behind the scenes trailer came out, and of course the unfortunate passing of JDF, do you agree or disagree that the announcement of the anniversary special itself was justifiably overshadowed by JDF's passing? So do you feel some MMPR fans may not want to tune into the anniversary special because they know that JDF announced months before his passing that he wasn't returning to Power Rangers, even though we see MMPR green in the trailer? I feel many people don't seem to understand that just because someone said they're one doesn't mean they can't change their mind or do something secretly as a surprise. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we hold people to their word too immediate. I don't want to say hold them to their word too immediately, but look, I mean, if people want to give us a surprise, how do you pull off a surprise, right? You got to unfortunately lie about it, I think. Look at Andrew Garfield. Nobody's mad at that dude for lying for like 2 years about being in No Way Home. And when we saw him in No Way Home, we were super pumped about it, right? So I think people will forgive the lie if the outcome is to their liking. You know what I mean? And if JDF really isn't in here, then look, they've got nothing to be upset about, right? So yeah, I think people would be okay. Do I agree that the announcement of the anniversary special itself was justifiably overshadowed by? Oh yeah, absolutely. JDF passed away. That's more important than anything else you got going on. Like JDF's um, impact in Power Rangers is why we're here today. The fact that he's literally helped this franchise continue to stay relevant for such a long period of time in the fans' eyes. We wouldn't have a MMPR 30th anniversary special if you ask me, if it didn't have something to do with JDF. So yeah, his passing justifiably overshadowed the MMPR anniversary special. So yeah. Roberto, this might be my last question, Roberto. So, what previously supporting and recurring characters would you like to have become a Ranger? Example, Mick becoming a Red Ranger in Ninja Steel. Give me his dad. Give me Brody's dad from give me Brody's dad from Ninja Steel. I would love to see him as a Ranger. Give me Commander Shaw. Shit, I would love to see Commander Shaw as a Ranger also. Those would probably be my two recurring supporting characters off the top of my head, that most recent that I probably would like to see become a Ranger. So yeah, give me Commander Shaw and give me Brody's dad from well, I guess they kind of did that already, didn't they? So maybe not Brody's dad, because they kind of already did that, but I would love to have him around a little bit more also. Heck, I wouldn't even mind taking Dr. Akana as a Ranger in this season if you really wanted to know. So yeah, most recently, yeah, give me Commander Shaw and Dr. Akana. And I think that'll be it for today. So I will continue our live viewer questions from Francois, our international superstar, all the way up to the most talented man in the world. So I'll definitely go ahead and tackle those videos for you guys this week, guys. So again, from Francois, beginning with Francois. So thank you very much, guys, for everybody that certainly submitted all of your live viewer questions. We have some great questions here. Nice balance, I thought. Some usually a lot of Power Ranger stuff, but I always, trust me when I say, guys, I really do appreciate you guys balancing some things out with other topics, whether that be Marvel, DC, or just movies in general. I love talking about that other stuff as well. So thank you very much for that, guys. But that will conclude our live viewer question segment. But guys, listen, thank you so much for certainly joining us here this weekend. We are going to be trying to be back next weekend around 12 p.m. or maybe around 1 p.m. Central Time next week on Sunday. I'm going to try and sit down and talk with the fellas and try and figure out if Sunday still works for us. It's just been a little bit more difficult because, again, you know, as parents now, myself and my girlfriend Cindy, sometimes our got conflicting schedules from time to time. She's working on the weekends, I work through the weekday. And so having that babysitter and somebody to watch Noah while I do a 3-hour show on the weekend is no easy task. So sometimes it is hard for me to be able to clamp down on an exact time to come live for you guys lately. But maybe that's something that me, the girlfriend, and maybe Stuart and Indy will discuss a little bit more to try and find a date and time that works for everybody to where we can just be here consistently for you guys. But regardless, we'll definitely still be here on a weekly basis. So definitely look out for us next weekend on A Plus Hero Report. Indy, I believe, if anything, is going to continue to work on the Flash reviews for you guys. He is a little bit late with his episode 3 review, but that should certainly be coming soon. Stuart will be doing Superman and Lois reviews for you guys beginning March 14th. And I'm going to be doing Mandalorian reviews for you guys beginning this week. I might end up going live Thursday afternoons on my lunch break to do that for you. And then I'm also going to be tackling Gotham Knights. So we definitely have some new content and reviews for you guys coming on the channel. I just subscribed to, well, not subscribed, but I just reapplied to try and monetize the page once again. So hopefully we could start making some money off of this channel with you guys' support here. And I'm also working on a brand new logo design, guys. So stay tuned. A lot of big changes certainly happening from A Plus Hero Report. We got a bunch of conventions coming up, some convention coverage to provide for you guys. So I want to make sure that 2023 not only is a fresh look for A Plus Hero Report, but we got some great motivation behind us and momentum, and really continue to take ourselves to the next level in 2023. So thank you very much, guys. And listen, if you want to be a part of the team, hit me up sometime at aplusopinions@gmail.com. If you're interested, if you got any experience, whether that be Photoshop, editing videos, whatever the case may be, if you want to join our channel, hit me up if you got some experience, and I think you can certainly help out. Even if it's not for YouTube, maybe it's something for Spotify or our Facebook page that you guys certainly might want to help be a part of. Definitely go ahead and hit me up again, aplusopinions@gmail.com. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for us here. We'll certainly see you guys next weekend. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.